Does that work? Yes. Hello. Welcome to It's For You. And after the amazing little fumble that we have had in order to get started to go live, I'd like to welcome everybody to our final day of It's For You on the 12th day of COP. And today, at this very moment, if you've been following the news of the main COP event itself, you'd have been hearing about how we have waiting for that final statement from them. And it's time to remind everybody of It's For You as the antidote to COP, so that we do not worry about whatever the statement might come out, because the voices of the people who have come on or through the 12 days have told us the migration to that richer world and that better future, the migration to that new world where we will be looking after our planet and putting our nature and dignity first, has already begun. And it will not go away because it is already something that is with us. And that transformation has started and will continue. And today, we start, as always, with a session with prayer and meditation. And what I've want to do today is to lead that prayer myself, and hopefully some other members of my team may wish to join and offer their prayers along too. And to start with that, I want to play a hymn. It's a very important hymn to me. It's a hymn that tells about how honest service as we go into the evenings and end our day, we offer our prayer to God and for that passing of the day. And we must remember, in order for there to be a new beginning, there has to be a passing of the past. If we're unwilling to let go of that past, then we will not be able to walk forward into that new beginning. And the hymn sings through in that way. And the hymn is sung by the choir of King's College, which is where I was from, where I studied in Cambridge, and which also gave Richard and I the opportunity to speak first about our book in the summer where COVID reigned. And it was a remarkable opportunity for us to have been able to do that and started us on the journey that has taken us to here today. So for those two reasons are amongst those that I find important. And let me now share with you that. So that particular hymn, as I said earlier, is very, very meaningful to me. It was also a hymn that when I came first to the country where I'm in now, the United Kingdom, and was introduced into a school where I was boarding, and which I didn't understand at all the language, the English. I had connected me back to my home, to my family, and to the people I had known. And it's particularly important as we go through the transition, we go forward, to remember that we are saying a good night to a world that we have known. And because we're able to do that, that we are able to step forward into a richer world and a better future. And so to express that, I just wish to offer my own prayer in that way and wish you to listen together with me. Um, Dear Lord, I thank you for bringing us together on this 12th day of our It's For You campaign, on this 12th day of COP, to know that no matter what comes out from the statements that we await from the events in Dubai, that we recognize that your grace has been with us and has been shown to all the people who have featured and who have spoken. The migration to that richer world and better future has started. The migration that puts nature and dignity first, and that in your presence we'll each find our own way on that journey so that we may all be there together. Amen. Collins, do you have anything? And Kaka, are there any thoughts and meditations that you'd like to add before we close this and allow the rest of the session to continue?
Yep. Thank you, David and Collins. I would love to also just say that it's been really a journey with lots of recommendation and for us to remember all the things that we've done before. And we really believe that it is through God that have really connected us through and bring all of us together. Some of us, maybe we may never believe that maybe the first time I met with you, David, would have maybe brought all of us the people we've spoken um, to the to where we are. For all the people we've spoken to them across the different parts of the world, maybe nobody believed that it would have materialized. And this one reminds me in the Bible of the book of Isaiah, chapter 60, verse 22, that says, um, in God's time, in the correct time, He will make it happen. And we believe that with the strong faith we have within us, and with the faith that I also have, this campaign is going to continue also, even if even when you meditate as we get to Christmas, and remember all what happened with the birth of Jesus and all that kind of how he grew and went through triumph and everything else that he went through tribulation. At the end of the day, he was a conqueror. So, one message of inspiration is that I know that we are really facing lots with the people that really believe, who maybe probably will not wish to take this step in terms of creating a mitigation for what we championing for in oil, gas, and coal. But we believe that as long as our truth remain standing, we will always overcome all the challenges that we have. So I would love to say, um, for all the people we've met for this year, the beginning of this year, particularly to you, Richard, and to you, David and Richard. You've really been a family to me, myself, and even to the people that I follow. And true importantly, being a light to the young people, millions of young people who we took time to speak to. And we really thank God and we pray that may that love continue to bind us in our hearts, that we'll always remember to put nature and dignity before everything else. And through that, we will always become an important people, an important nation in a dignified community when we come together. And as we come to a close today, we continue to pray for this. I had even spoke to Bishop also about the same. He's been busy, but he's also having us with prayers here and all through the things that you're going to do. So, thank you so much.
my own mic is muted. So Collins is in a difficult place to speak. He wishes to give his blessing to all of us, and to the progress that we have been making on this. And I just want to say finally with a final word of thanks uh, to the presence of God in all of our actions throughout these events, because I know that it is through that presence that we have been able to come together and do the work that we're able to do, and to offer for everyone this aspect that it is for you. So thank you. Amen. So Collins, what we had before was a opportunity to interact with a remarkable lady, Andrea Edwards, who had interviewed each of us on the team about our own involvement in that. And I thought this would be a fantastic opportunity to hear about what have each been involved, what have been motivated us in that day, to take us along with our journey to here. So maybe we'll start with some of
Yeah,
those.
exactly.
Yes, and I was thinking we can start with, should we start with yours or should we start with Tim's? Uh, do you have a preference? If not, let me go and see what I can pick. Um,
Thank you, David. Yes.
so just give me a moment.
All right.
So whilst we were looking for those, here we are. Yes. So here is Tim, and just lining that up. And while we're doing that, I think we'll just be having that ready for us. Let's just. Here we go.
Welcome to 12 Days of COP. My name's Andrea Edwards, and we've been in the UK, we've gone to Norway, and now we're in Africa, in Kenya, and I'm so delighted to welcome Timothy Negwa. I know I've got it right this time, right? And he is the African representative for Rethinking Choices, and you're thrilled to be part of all of this. So let's just start, Timothy, with who you are, what you care about, and why you do what you do.
Okay, thank you, Andrea, for having me here. My name is Timothy Ndegwa, as you just said, and currently working with Rethinking Choices as a global outreach, and it's been an amazing journey, I would say. My background is finance. I've done financial engineering, and I practiced it for 2 years, and then shifted to this environment space where I've worked with uh, another organization where I was the partnership manager, and that's where we met with David. Uh, during his visit here in Kenya, and after that, the rest is history. Here we are, and uh, other than that, I volunteer as an environmental marshal in the World Rally Championship in Kenya during the Safari Rallies. So environment for me is something that it's dear to me. Other than my day-to-day job, it's also something that I passionately do it. So yeah, that's me, and looking forward to have an engaging conversation, an interesting one. Thank you, Adrian.
So, no, it's really good to have you. It's really good to hear finance people moving over into the climate and the environment space. So, for you, what was it that drew you? What is it? Something that you were seeing in your environment around you? Was it the news? What drove you to make that move?
Okay. What made me drive? What got me here is during my volunteer at World Rally Championship. Then I used to volunteer as in the finance docket, and it was at this time when Safari Rally, for a very long time, had not been to Kenya. because we had not fulfilled the FIA standards on matters to do with environment. So we were tasked, and the then President Uhuru Kenyatta wanted the rally to come to Kenya. So we were tasked to, learn about the FIA environmental standards and see how we can implement them. So it was a rigorous activity where we had to research, do proposals, and whatnot, which finally we were able to, get to understand what the FIA environmental standards are. And it was through that Safari Rally was brought to Kenya. So that's where my passion for environment started after doing the research and everything. That's when I started having that desire, to explore this field. So that's how, and then the rest is history.
So what's the event, or it's called the Safari? What
Safari
did you
Rally.
say? Safari Murray. And what is that?
Motorsport. It's a motorsport. It's a
right. Okay.
Yeah. It's when very motorsport companies. We talk about Toyota. We talk about Ford. They come and rally. They come and compete as a way of trying to market themselves here. Yeah.
Okay. Cool. And then, as far as like the community around you, in Kenya, the awareness. What's it like? In many parts of the world where, I don't know, so many, especially in the wealthy countries, they're not experiencing the terror that's happening on the front lines. And I was talking to people recently, and I think a lot of people in Western countries, wealthy countries, they're still speaking climate and biodiversity loss from a theoretical perspective.
Yeah.
But then when you live in the global south like we both do, we're actually seeing it before our eyes, the impacts of what's happening, and it's increasing. So what's it like on the ground for you? What are you seeing?
I think awareness, as you've put it, is one of the biggest niche in my previous work. I was more involved in creating awareness. So we had this online platform that businesses would come and showcase what they're doing on in the sustainability field, and also we'll also highlight the stories that the grassroots communities are doing. That includes the success story and also the challenges that they're facing. So, and it was during that time that I understood, or rather, I came to the reality that indeed there are people out here who are facing dire repercussions as far as the effects of climate change is concerned. And most people here, for example, from where I am, most people practice farming, and so you have this farmer who have this is what he has brought up his family with, the farming activity. And you realize that he or she faces 3 consecutive droughts, and he can't put food on the table, and it becomes so dire that at some point they go out start asking for relief food. So, but now they can't be able to comprehend what is actually happening. They don't know what is resulting to them not making rain. So, and that's when I realized that awareness is key. Letting them know that the reason as to why you've not been experiencing rainfall, and that's making you not be able to have produce during these 3 seasons. It's because we have fossil fuel, we've polluted our environment, we've cut down trees and whatnot. And in their realization of what has caused that, you see the enthusiasm from them to try and restore nature. And that for me is something so I think I held so dear, seeing a 70-year-old granny, mobilizing people to plant trees, knowing that she might not benefit from that tree, but for the sake of nature, for the sake of generations to come, she has to do what ought to be done. Yeah.
Yeah, beautiful. And that's something that's really prevalent for me across the global south is, we all take it for granted that we've got technology, we're able to talk. The people who can't listen to us are the people on the front lines. They don't have access to technology. They don't have mobile technology. So they're not able to even be aware of what's going on in the wider world. So fantastic work that you're doing.
Yeah.
So It's for you. What does it's for you mean to you?
Uh, it's for you for me means that you know bringing it home. Like just at times we work, at times we and we go to work and we engage in activities which probably we are doing. So for example, case and scenario, uh, I had campus buddies who we schooled with, and they they were not happy about the course because probably it was recommended by the parent, so they were
Right.
not doing it for them. They were doing it for the
Mm,
parent. And after we
mm,
graduated, they explored a different line of career. So it's for you. It's we're inviting people to do the things that relate with them at an individual level. And one of the things that we're inviting people to do is to redirect their spending. And during these 12 days of COP, whereby I I don't have to probably fly to Dubai, but I can use those resources to the people that I feel they are making the world a better place for everyone. So then that includes that that woman who sells tomatoes next to the road. It's because that is a person I have a personal relationship, or I've developed a personal relationship with. So when I
mm.
direct my resources to her project, it's for her, it's for me, because that in case I have anything, in case maybe I have a problem, she could be the one among the first people I can reach out to. And also, a lot of people are doing amazing stuff that end up not being highlighted. So and that calls for people to um, no, that's it's for you now. It highlights those things, highlights those things to the world at a global scale, and we're giving them that opportunity to share those amazing stories they're doing as far as conserving the environment is concerned. And that's why we're calling it It's for You. It's about
Yeah.
the things that really matter to you.
Yeah, no, I love that. And the idea of, the lady selling tomatoes by the side of the road because you have a relationship with her, but versus buying from the big chains where the profits may not even stay in the country, right? But
Yeah,
that the simplicity of that message, we've got to, if we're in Western countries where we go to farmers markets rather than going to the supermarket,
yeah,
I have friends who've got fashion boutiques, buying from them rather than the big brands. Anything you can do to support the local business, and and then there's the other side, and I love the concept of the dignity that's at
yeah.
the center of It's for You. That's something that really resonated with me. Does it resonate with you too?
Yes, 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 yes. Because we say that it has to start from dignity. Dignity is what gives us our identity, if I may use that word. And
Yeah.
bringing it to context is that, like right now, I've just read a tweet that UAE, that's in Dubai, they've committed 100 million USD dollars to loss and damage fund. And to me, however much it might sound a reason to marry, for me, it doesn't make sense because the money, quote unquote, is meant to rob nature dignity. Because they've given that money, they will continue exploring well. And it's just the same way that, for example, if I can be able to infringe pain on you and give you something small, then I rob with the dignity. So any other time I want to infringe pain on you, I will do it because I can pay for that. And
Mhm.
it will continue for forever and forever. And that is the scenario that we are in right now. That's where the world is right now. That the biggest polluters, they're just dropping a pinch of their revenues, to try and sort of gain the privilege to continue polluting the environment. So from where I stand is that we should allow nature have its dignity. We should preserve its dignity. We shouldn't compromise it. That's the same way you can't put a price tag on your mother. It's the same way we
Mm.
ought not to put a price tag on our mother nature. And yeah, and let's
Yeah.
preserve its dignity.
Yeah. No, I love that. All right. So, how can people get involved with It's for You, and being part of this program and spreading a broader message to the world? It's not about hope. It's about positivity and remembering
Yeah,
what we're fighting for. Right.
yeah. So how can people get involved? again, as we've said, it's for you. So on what you do on a day-to-day basis, for example, I could maybe be engaged in activities. Maybe I'm selling my merchandise, and as a way of marketing it, I post those. I take posts. I have my social media platforms. So one way you can be able to engage is that on your social media, you can include the so that you can be able to attract as many people as you can. Also, during this time, on the 12 days of COP, you can be able to redirect your spending, as I had said earlier. Uh, you know the people that you think are making this world a better place. So you can choose to redirect your spending. We were talking with the Chief Environment Officer, Safari Hari, and she shared with us an amazing thing that she pledged to do during these 12 days of COP. She said that she will not fuel her car and use those funds and channel them to a project in Mathare slum, to just and improve their lives. So that is one way that you can do that. That's one way you can explore, direct your spending to the people you feel that they really matter and they need the money and they're exploring a worthy cause for the planet. Also, you can share the good things, the initiatives that you're doing. You can highlight them, help you upscale them during these 12 days of COP, but we get to highlight them because, again, many stories end up not being told, and we are there to ensure that, every voice counts as far as, taking care of environment is concerned. Yeah.
Yeah, that absolutely perfect. And I think was the first point you raised. Really raising your voice, speaking up, sharing a message, talking about what you're doing, and just the idea that for 12 days, if everyone just focused on putting their money where there's real value and supporting the people, but also support the people like Timothy who are out there really fighting. I think that's another thing that we can all do, support the activists, support the people on the ground doing the hard work. So we've been really quick here today, but is there anything you want to leave everybody with before we say goodbye?
So maybe just to invite us all to a story given by Nobel Prize winner 2004, Wangari Maathai, and she gave this story about the hummingbird. The story goes that there was fire that broke. It's a Japanese story. So the story goes that there was fire that broke in this forest, and all the animals were running for their lives. And there was this small bird called the hummingbird, which would go down the stream, the river, and use its beak to try and put the fire down. Whereas other animals, the likes of elephants, with huge trunk which would have carried huge amount of water, were just there watching their home coming down, being burned down. And as this small bird was, making many rounds, down the stream to the forest, using its small beak to carry water, these animals asked this bird, "What do you think you're doing?" And it is the response that this bird gave to the animals that has always kept me moving. And the response was, "It's at least I'm doing something." And that should be our attitude, irrespective of our social status in the community, irrespective of our age. There is that one thing that you can do to make sure that we have a sustainable and conducive environment. So get that one thing that you can do to improve the environment and pursue it. Thank you so much. It's been nice, Andrew.
Yeah, it's been nice too. So everyone, be a hummingbird. Yeah. They're beautiful, and we need to save them too. All right, Timothy, it's really great to speak to you. Thank you so much.
You're much welcome.
And good luck. I hope it's an amazing 12 days of COP for the whole team. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you.
I think you're muted.
That was the interview that was made before we started, and it presents sort of the visions and dreams in some sense of where we were. And Richard, now that you're here, maybe we can. I want to ask if you remember this.
Yeah,
This was at the end of last year. We started
yeah,
thinking about what to do, how to make 2023 the year we stop climate change. And
absolutely.
we wanted to reach in there. And the essence of it was realizing climate change was about the things that give us joy. And I'm not sure whether we followed that through, but that was the plan at the time. And we spoke along and started engaging. We wanted to be getting out there into the events around July and September. We managed to get into the Bombast Memorial Park at the time of African Climate Summit,
Yeah,
with all planning that there, and rode into this time. And of course, like Mike Tyson says, everyone has a plan until they get punched in the mouth, right?
one of the great poets of the 20th century. Unlikely as it seems, it's so true.
Yes, yes. But every time you get punched in the mouth, you get up again and you get another go, which is exactly what he's been able to do.
Yeah. The importance there is that you are one day able to get up and go again. I think
Shall we
what
see if
we're,
we can get Tim on to join us? Hello,
yeah, there he
Tim.
is. You see him. Yeah.
Are you able to join us? He seems to be still muted. Let's see whether he
Yeah,
can.
I think he's actually frozen. There must be some connectivity issues with Kenya,
Yeah.
but
Okay.
those are the
Well,
things that happen.
yes. And Collins also had an interview with Andrea,
Yeah,
and which she was very generous in giving her time to doing this. Give
and,
with her
and we're
busy
very
schedule.
grateful for that. And she was instrumental in actually laying out the portrait of the people who have been involved over these 12 days. She was absolutely instrumental, and we're very grateful.
Yep. So here, let's hear about Collins as he was embarking on this.
Yeah.
Welcome to 12 Days of COP. I'm your host, Andrea Edwards, and today we are in Kenya, Nairobi, with Sir Collins Manyasi. Everyone keeps telling me how inspiring you are, so I'm really, really looking forward to hearing what you've got to say. So, welcome.
Thanks, Andrea, and glad connecting with you today. So, as you said, my name is Collins Manyasi, also Sir Collins, as you mentioned it, and I'm here in Nairobi, Kenya, and so glad just connecting with you and looking forward to have an amazing session with you.
Yeah. And so just before we started talking, Sir Collins was telling me that the name was actually inherited when he was still at high school. So you're obviously an impressive man back then as well. All right. So do you want to just share with everyone your background and what you do and why you do it?
Okay, thank you so much. So I studied, biology in my university, and after that, I've been so much passionate about research. And so part of the work I've been doing after, the university is volunteering and, giving back to communities. And what really, touched my interest on climate environment is working with this grassroots women organization. And they were actually implementing the Adaptation Fund program, this huge global fund. And you had this grassroots women organization that was actually implementing this project in the rural areas, the Maasai indigenous in Kenya. And this experience kind of changed my whole perspective about what really it means when we talk about the effects of climate and the challenges that women face. Traveling kilometers and kilometers to get water. We had this aspect about the children, yeah, taking care of the livestock. We have the drought issues, and so this aspect of what the kind of challenges they face, and looking at the other aspect about how they have built this kind of resilience to just adapt and stay strong. And so one of the components for this project was actually to give them water. It is a model called the adaptation village model. And so one of the sites that we visited, and they had a borehole for the water. And when it popped out, and I saw the whole village, coming around with the joy and the happiness. it touched my heart just to understand how like water can turn a village that was so quiet into like a vibrant city. And so yeah, that's how my journey has been, and coming along with that and connecting with other organizations that deal with conservation, environment, and currently now working with such a vibrant youth network. It's called actually the East African Campuses and Colleges Green Network, where I also serve as the advisory board, if you see behind me. And so through that, we had a connection with Wild Climate School through INGA and Thinking Choices in the UK to bring about this message about It's For You, which I'll talk about. Yes.
Yeah. Oh, that's awesome. That's really awesome. And especially working with women like in the rural communities, some of the stuff I'm reading, that's where the real change is happening, but it's also where the support isn't necessarily going. And, there was a picture just today someone shared on LinkedIn, which showed the delegates of COP28, and vast majority of them were men. And, I'd say if we don't have women and minority groups at every decision-making table, we're really not going to get it right, because it's the women who are actually doing the real work, right, in nature. So that's awesome. Like if you could go back to when you first started, whether it was when you're at university, what was it? So every time I speak to someone from Africa, I feel that everyone's so much further ahead in the actions that need to be taken, which obviously is because you guys are really on the front line of what's going on. And so, but what was that first moment for you, that epiphany, when you realized you needed to get involved in this for the future of your country, your region, and humanity? Do you have a moment?
Yes, I do. I do have a moment. And when I was at the university, I think in my second year, we had a group of students that traveled to one of the remote areas, rural areas, and it was actually a camp with the students coming across from the medical field, from the Christian Union, and all this combined team to get to visit this place. And initially, it used to be like a conflict-prone areas, and so we had a 1 week stay at the area, and what we did was to interact with the community, get to like home to home, and so I happened to visit with some kids to a homestead, and I got this lady, a mother who was actually sick on her bed, and the children, like implored to me like, no, we have to pass by our home, and so that the story about her, I can't remember her, I can't even remember the name, but her story touched my heart to just think through about the little things that we can do to make sure we have a better world. Because and then maybe during that time, like transport to the same place was a bit challenging, and we have like one public bus that actually goes to the area one day and gets back. And so like when a public bus arrives in the evening around 4 5, the whole small town rises in jubilation to welcome that. And so when I came back to Nairobi, I reflected on that a lot, and especially the children. I have a passion for children, and so by the time as students we are leaving to come back to the city, there was this all joy, and the kids coming along and saying, "Hey, I need your, get me your shoe, get me your t-shirt or something." So it changed my whole perspective about even we talk about rural and urban, and when somebody is defining about the policies around the development and the reality on the ground. And so all along after that, when I finished my studies, that's how I dropped into actually work with this grassroots women organization called Masar Women. And it's kind of also just gave me the passion and inspiring stories of women and their role they play actually in making sure that we build a livelihood despite the challenges. So yes, that's the story around it.
Beautiful. I love it. I love it. I know we're sort of still pretty early days into COP28, But have you heard anything yet that sort of made you feel like they might do something special this year? Anything's giving you hope so far?
Yes, I've been following up to what's happening, and I've had quite a number of my friends actually from Kenya who are actually attending COP, and I think the opening up of the loss and damage fund, I think that's been one of the things I know has come up along even before COP. You remember Kenya, the government hosted the African Climate Summit in September. 4th to 6th. And one of the highlights, even coming from the heads of states, was actually on how they need to balance that aspect. That yes, we know we have the developed and developing, and the loss and damage idea. I've heard it so much of how that kind of fund can actually boost, especially for the projects and interventions in the developing countries. So I'm still keen on what comes out of that, and I think that's for me where I see it is the right start.
Yeah, it was a positive start, but it's so far below the number that we need annually, right? So I mean that's one of the topics I'm definitely keeping an eye on, because if we don't get that right as a global society, we're really kidding ourselves. John Kerry, I don't know, 6 months ago, 12 months ago, said the US is not paying loss and damages funds, and they've only donated 17 million in this first round of announcements. But Germany's 100 million, for example, right? But if we don't do it, if we don't help developing nations get ready for the extremes, as well as upgrade their energy grids, then we're all going to be toast, So that closed thinking of we don't have to, it's not our responsibility, it's everybody's responsibility, because if no one wants to move, but if people are forced to migrate, then we've got a whole other situation on our hands, right?
Yeah, I agree. The stakes are high, but it's everyone's responsibility, and I totally agree with you. So we still following up and hopefully to see how it turns out. But we have a role to play, and I hope that at the end of the 12 days of COP, we have to sit down and reflect and see how actually we can do things better.
Cool. Awesome. I love it. All right. So we're here to talk about It's For You. So let's start. Everyone I'm talking to has a different sort of interpretation, which I love, because I think that's what's really appealing to me about it. So what does It's For You mean to you?
Yes, thank you. So It's For You to me is about you have the power, you have the space, you have the skill, and you have the idea. And that idea, I don't have it. And so where I stand is when I say It's For You, it means you are in the right space, you have the idea, you have, the innovative kind of thinking that when you put it on the table, it makes a difference. And so if you align it to the climate and the 12 days of COP, basically It's For You means the discussion that's happening at the global and higher level. Where it can only make the meaning if it translates into whatever positive thing is happening on the ground. Like just the story I told you about a remote village somewhere in Kenya, and people have no idea about COP. So when you talk about the climate crisis, so It's For You is just about what is this little young man doing in somewhere there's no network, no one knows about him or her, and actually she's making little steps to make her village better. So that's for me what It's For You means. So the little step that someone is doing, unrecognized, not seen, but making a difference. And that's why we say, like COP It's For You, because it's bringing the voices of the people not seen, but they're making a difference. Yes.
Yeah, beautiful. I think that's one of the best descriptions I've heard so far, because it is those people that are actually really making the difference. They're on the front line. They're experiencing things that most of the times they don't even have the technology to understand what's going on, and what's changing. They're just dealing with it, right? And they're
Yeah.
adapting and they're planting different crops, and but we do need to get communication to them about the risks that are coming, especially heat. That's a huge one, right? For all of us in the global south. So I'm in Thailand, where we hit wet bulb temperatures earlier this year. I know you've been dealing with extreme heat this year as well, and next year is looking hotter. So we need to hear these voices, these people. They're the ones that are really making the changes that are going to make it all the difference. All right. So sorry, you keep going. Do you want to say something?
No, it's fine. I'm just agreeing with you about it, and maybe the experience you're sharing in Thailand. Currently in Kenya, we have El Nino, the floods, and it's so emotional to think through about what that means to the people who are affected, and that's why it's voice about bringing out those voices to say, look, I think it's time to make sure we join our hands for a better planet.
Yeah,
Yes.
absolutely.
Yes.
All right. So the final question: how can your community get involved in It's For You? And I've got the sign up here. Sign up It's For You to It's For You on Bitly, which I'll put in the show notes as well. But what do you encourage everybody in your community to do to be part of this?
Oh, so thank you. So the fun part about the It's For You campaign is actually to highlight the stories that young people, the children, families around the communities are doing to make the world better. And the aspect about it is that it is supposed to propel businesses and governments to redirect a little spending on the little projects that actually these young people are doing. And that's why the form and the link to join the It's For You campaign is basically to fill in the form, pick around an activity or the project you're doing, and then share the story. You can also actually join it through, we are running live sessions. You can actually get into our studio, hear the conversation, and get into stage, just contribute to the debate. So, for instance, yesterday we had amazing program, and you had young people and guys just connecting, contributing to the debate, sharing their stories, and it's so inspiring and to hear what people are doing out there. So yes, I welcome our viewers to sign in, follow us on YouTube, on LinkedIn, on Instagram, on Facebook, and as I say, it's for you, it's for me, it's for everyone.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Awesome. Very inspiring. And if people are only listening to you, you've got and not seeing you, you've got an amazing smile that lights up a room. So, so Collins, thank you so much. I watched some of the live stream last night, and I agree with you 100%. It was really inspiring. Just hearing the voices from all over the world. I think you guys have done an amazing job bringing a really incredible community of people together. So congratulations. And I hope these 12 days of COP are fantastic for all of you, because you deserve it. A lot of hard work's gone in. So great job.
Thank you. And you're welcome to Kenya.
I'd love to come and visit. All right.
Okay.
See you guys soon.
Thank you. Bye. Thank you. Okay.
Hello. So here we have it. Collins.
Indeed.
With his kind of very insightful view of how it is. Let's see, we get Tim back on. Let's see how he's been having some connection difficulties. In fact, Kenya has been having power cuts for a little while now, and that has been the issue for us along. And I think Collins as well is still suffering from that. So, but what would you like? Oh, let's see. David. Hello, David. How are you doing?
David's here too. Excellent.
Hello, Sam. Doing good.
Yeah.
A bit of noise here, but I can hear you loud and clear.
Yeah. And
Good.
so, how do you feel now that we are there on this final day? And of course, we're waiting for we're waiting for the world is waiting for Dubai to come up with his final statement.
Are they still drafting it?
They are still drafting it. I'm having a look.
That, I think, tells you more than 1,000 words can say. The fact that after an 8-hour delay, they're still drafting it. So there you go. I also see Collins here in the studio. I think he's ready, roaring to go, or perhaps not.
Yeah, so just to answer your question, David, the
Yes.
last day of COP, I really feel like we are beginning. I think the energy today is so great, and I just feel like it's like we're beginning, meaning that we're finishing on a high note. And it
It
just
sounds like
believes.
your party is already started.
That's what an Independence Party looks like, I guess.
Yeah. Yes.
Absolutely.
And it should.
And of course, it is Independence Day in Kenya at the moment, isn't it? The 60th anniversary of the independence of Kenya, and that's a big celebration along. And we all look forward to how we move forward in our world, and that's such a great thing.
Yeah.
We do have
Yeah, of
another
course.
interview.
Yeah.
Yes. With another one of our of the people who've really been instrumental along. In fact, everyone has been so amazing with doing that, and that's Sadaf. What do you think about showing everybody her
I think that's an
contributions along?
excellent idea. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think everyone should get to know the amazing Sadaf as well.
Yes, and let me just line that up while you manage that.
Yeah. And then we'll see if Collins is able to join after that.
And of course, at 4 o'clock GMT, we start the closing ceremony.
Indeed.
And we hope people will join us. We will have guests on our Zoom link, and then we're going to go from our Zoom link to carry over into the StreamYard to be streaming there. So here we are. Here's Sadaf with Andrea.
Well, welcome to day 2 of 12 Days of COP. My name's Andrea Edwards, and today I am delighted to introduce you to someone who I have found incredibly inspiring, and that is Inga Mete. Welcome to 12 Days of COP. I'm your host, Andrea Edwards, and we are in Pakistan today with the very lovely and inspiring Sadaf Khalid. Welcome.
Hi, how are you? Thank you so much for inviting me to your discussion and your interview today.
I'm so happy to, because I think, this is the contribution I can make to support the amazing work the whole team has done. So you're the global coordinator for Rethinking Choices in COP28. So you're running this show. So let's kick off with some background, and we're going to do it a little bit differently today. You've got a presentation for us.
So thank you so much for inviting me today. And I'm Sadaf Khalid. I'm based in Islamabad, Pakistan. I'm the global coordinator for the It's For You campaign that we are running virtually for the COP28, which is happening from 1st to 12th December. For people who don't know what COP is, it's Conference of the Parties. It's environment conference, which happens every year in different countries. And this year, it's happening in Dubai, UAE. That's a brief professional background. So basically, I'm from the tourism and hospitality industry from Pakistan. I've been working in different organizations. I'm an entrepreneur business as well. I own my own resort called the Walnut Heights as well. I'm also working as a global ambassador for tourism for the Commonwealth Entrepreneurship Club in the UK as well. How I ended up in sustainability and environment, I'll share my story later, but I worked as the CEO for this SDGs Academy in Pakistan as well. And currently I'm running, as I mentioned, I'm the global coordinator for It's For You campaign, which we are running. Our event is a virtual one for COP28. So now I'll come to my first participation in a COP, which happened COP26, which was in Glasgow in UK. That was a great learning experience. These are just few of my pictures that I wanted the viewers to see how interesting they've made even these from the fresh plants, because we're talking about environment and climate. That's an interesting capture that I took there while I was there. So this was the picture that I don't know why, I was just walking down the streets of Glasgow going to the green zone for my talks over there. So I saw this picture, funny picture, where some artist must have put it down, Greta Thunberg and all the leaders, and calling them the 40 Club Band for climate change. This was just an interesting picture, which I thought I'll share. This was really interesting. All the leaders, it was a protest going on in George Squares in Glasgow, and I was just blogging for my online viewers for that conference. And I saw all these leaders, they've tied up to a chain and they're like crying for climate change. India is the biggest polluter. Trump was also there. So it was quite interesting to see this protest going on. I don't know whether such protests can happen, be allowed in Dubai, but that was Glasgow in UK. And that's what it was like, quite interesting to capture that. So I just wanted to share this also. And they're calling them climate criminals,
Yeah.
We're here, Russia is there, China is there. China didn't even participate, I think, in the last COP26, if I recall. So that was quite interesting, the effort that they have put. So I'll now start. I was a member of the Rotary Club of Nottingham in UK. For people who don't know, Rotary International is a huge network globally, and I would request people who are passionate about climate change, they have a club for young people, which is called the Road Track, and for about when you're 30, 40 plus, you can join the main Rotary clubs. And the picture I really put is that if you see that there's a tree, there's a young children, and they're planting this tree. And they've put their logos in there. So that's the start of Rotary Club introduction. So this was the project that I did there for Christmas trees recycling. It was a very interesting project, which we did with our Rotary Club of Nottingham. And the reason I wanted to share that, all over the world, Christmas is celebrating. And I know that so many people are buying expensive Christmas trees and putting them, and then I don't know where these Christmas trees go. So what we did was that with the Nottingham Hospital charity, they contacted us, and we picked all the Christmas trees in different locations for 3 days. And all the money that is being collected goes to the Nottingham Charity Hospital. So that was a great project, which I wanted to share with the viewers, which you can do if you're a member of the Rotary, or even individually you can do as. These are some our Rotary Club members volunteering for this campaign that we did. So what they did was that, as I mentioned, they, with the help of this charity, they are connecting annual Christmas tree collection for the recycling scheme. So that's me in the picture with my friend. It was like freezing cold, and the motivation behind which was -3, I think. It started spring also, but we still we did it, and it was like great fun. So this was what we did. Then we did another project, because I had recently come after COP26, and all my members, I had recently joined the Rotary Club, and I said, let's do some garbage picking lecture day, and we have a theme. And so it was a fun activity that we created with our team members. Basically, in Rotary members, they're all retired nice professionals, and if you bring in an idea, what I'm saying is that they will support you. This is one activity that we did around there with our Rotary Club members, and we collected garbage, and it was fun activity that we did. So I just wanted to share this as well, that if you have ideas, they'll promote you, and they will say that, oh, let's do it. So there's another tree.
I just wanted to add, I'm extremely impressed with Rotary Worldwide and what they're doing. There's some real momentum there, and that commitment to sustainability was about a couple of years ago when it sort of changed its sort of thinking. So so great, really, really awesome to see the work you've been doing. Sorry.
Yeah, Yeah, no, that's fine. So my presentation, I won't talk that much. It's a quick presentation, but it's just that better than talking to to show people, through pictures, so that it's more interesting. So this was a tree
Absolutely.
plantation project we did. I organized a Silk Road Summit during COVID, which Inger met. As you know, she was also part of it. So we took all this. So Gwadar is like the from Karachi. It's like an 8 hours drive. It's the new upcoming China-Pakistan Economic Corridor project, which we call the CPAC. And I just got this idea that during the conference, why don't we just take trees and plant them there? So this was that we did some tree plantation there in Gwadar. And whenever I do some projects like tree plantation, I always search for some interesting quotes. And I just had an idea that, you can just name he or she who plants a tree plants a hope. So that's like an interesting thing. And then when the tree grows, you can see those who planted the trees with the sign. And this quote also I really like. I always use it like, life without love is like a tree without blossoms of fruit. So these are all my friends. This is one of my friends. She came all the way from UK for this conference for Zana. She also participated in this tree plantation project. So, so now this is very close to my heart, which I wanted to share. And this was like, I was just traveling from visiting my family last year in August. And we have this resort up, as I mentioned earlier. And suddenly I was caught up in this picture that you see, massive floods. And exactly in 2010, floods came in Pakistan. A lot of destruction, a lot of infrastructure was damaged. And exactly after 10 years, this picture is from last year. And the reason that we're having these floods frequently is the massive deforestation up in these areas. The governments, they're not interested. There's poverty. We don't have alternate energy. So it's like quite scary. And this is the high floods. If you see in this picture here, this is the hydro project which gives electricity, but it's not enough there. So this was quite an experience which I went through myself. This was like the Kalam River. Was high flood. I saw, this is the picture that I took basically on my phone. I haven't Googled it, by the way. I saw these scenes from my own eyes, all these buildings collapsing. And then we were rescued in a helicopter. And in the end, I would like to end my presentation. This is one of my favorite quote that I say, the journey of 1,000 miles begun with a single step. If you want to change, thank you so much.
Yeah. So those floods in Pakistan, I'll make this bigger so we can see you. That was from a glacial lake outburst. That was the main cause of it, right?
Well, it's not that. So basically, in that terrain, we have, as I said, this massive deforestation going on because the poverty level is so low. The survival, because it's a full year, we get snow, it's -15, -20. And those people, they can't mitigate or come to the city. So they're there around the year. So they don't have power. They cut the trees. They survive on that. They are cooking their food on it. They're using it as a heating for themselves. That's their survival. So since I've grown up in that area, I go since 91, I'm visiting that area. I'm into hiking and camping, all those beautiful terrains when I used to hike. When you go now, there's you don't see any trees there. So that's also, I think, one of the reasons that we're getting these frequent floods. And as climate change, as you said, that glaciers outbursts, I started, I've done sustainable development conference in those areas. I took the media in my capacity, what I could do, and raise the voice because, as you know, Pakistan has challenges and they're not interested. So, but, I tried my best, but floods are coming. It's everywhere. It's not in Pakistan. You see globally, look at the hurricanes, typhoons coming in Vietnam this year. Look at the wildfires in Greece that happened this year. So, so there's a lot happening around the globe.
Yeah, and especially, right now, watching the heat rolling through from South America to Australia and soon across the Asia Pacific and Africa, we're going to be seeing the heat extremes hit from February, basically. So I'm quite concerned. So if you could give me a moment in time where something happened or somebody said something where you started to realize that you needed to become or not realize that you wanted to be part of the solution. Do you remember what that moment was?
Sorry, so what you're asking is that if somebody mentioned and I mentioned or advised that this should
Just
be
that,
done?
just that moment for you when you became a climate activist, you know, when you realized that we had a big problem. Do you
So
remember a
this was
moment?
like, yeah, so this was the one that I personally experienced last year. And 2010 was the eye opener, where my mom was all alone in this area, and but that was the like massive floods. And then I was so scared that I could have lost my mom, my family. She
Yeah.
was stranded there, and we were in the city, and she was rescued by helicopter after 5 days. That was an eye opener for me when I started into and seeing what sustainable development goals are, what the challenges, how can I raise my voice? At least, even if talking about it, maybe somebody will hear my voice, you know.
Yeah.
And now things have changed. I don't know how much you follow Pakistan, but there's so many youth networks have come up. They've created platforms. Mobilization has started. They've started interest in it. They know climate change is there. They need to do something. So maybe I think that when I started working on these projects, they didn't even know what SDGs are, what Sustainable Development Goals are. And I've
Yeah.
laid that seed, as I said, and now they're taking it up, and now they're working on it. So I'm happy to see at least something is happening.
Yeah, brilliant. And you know, the power of one voice to create change, you know, I think it's so important that everyone claims their voice right now and fights. So that's really inspiring. I actually got some goosebumps when you were talking about the youth movement, because we're also seeing that across Africa as well. You know, that real young people coming together, but also women in rural communities on the front line. That's another message that's coming really clearly through, that they're just getting on with it. They don't even know. In many cases, a lot of the people on the front line don't even know what's going on the global, you know, on the global stage. They're just seeing a change in their environment and they want to be part of it. So, has anything happened so far? I know we're still pretty early into proceedings, but has anything happened at COP28 that's giving you any sort of sense of hope?
Well, frankly speaking, you know, the reason I could have gone to Dubai, you know, it's not that I could not afford it, or the reason I didn't go this time, because I've been attending these conferences internationally, locally in Pakistan as well. And it's just talk and the amount of money people spend. And our slogan, as you say, it's for you campaign, when I started working with this initiative with David and Richard and Inger, is that we are saying that we want to put a halt to oil, coal, and gas and the carbon emissions all across the globe. Imagine the amount of people flying into Dubai
Yeah.
in these airplanes. They're staying there. They're using the public transports. I know Dubai is like, I've been to Dubai. I don't know whether you've been to Dubai as well. They have like facility, but like, what is the, and it's currently, and the other thing that it put me off is that I don't know, I have my own opinion. The war going in Palestine, it's just next door, the Middle East crisis. And you're having, I
Yeah.
thought that maybe they'll postpone because there's a lot of serious thing happening there. People are sending money, donations for the refugees. I know climate change is a hot topic, but I thought it will be postponed, but unfortunately it was not, because there's a lot of investment that they build up the whole city in Dubai because they have the money. The oil
Yeah.
guy is there. I don't want to name him, but so far that I've followed, they are kind of, a lot of people have not participated in Dubai because of the Middle East crisis. A lot of my friends, they did go. And secondly, the talking Charles had a great opening I saw. I don't know whether you saw that as well. He's a great environmental. He's running a Charles Foundation as well. He's quite active in that. A lot of leaders are coming together talking about, I mean, they talk about climate change, but in the end, as I said, that what happened after Paris Climate Agreement, you know, we've seen that.
Mm.
I mean, the thing is that the decision makers are there. They go, they take pictures, they're there. But what happens when they go back after the COP? That's my question. What is
Yeah.
China doing? What is India doing? You know, recently there was a conference at the G20 in India. Modi was leading it. There was a lot of opposition. I don't know whether you saw. I was watching just news on BBC, and they were showing that for the G20 summit in Delhi, they had to evacuate the poor people, the gypsies, and they've made this wall around, just for the G20 for security reasons. And so there's a lot negative and positive things when
Yeah.
such conferences take place. But so far, I don't know, let's say there are 12 days, there are a lot of discussions going on. I don't know. But my question would be, when you go back after COP28, what are you doing for your countries?
Yeah, absolutely. And you've got a vociferous rooster there in the background, which is always lovely to hear. Okay, so it's for you. What does that mean to you? One of the things I've really enjoyed about these conversations is how it's different for everyone. So what does it mean to you?
It's for you is like the reason I liked and why I got into is that the slogan is it's for me, it's for you, it's for everyone. And we say COP28 is not only in Dubai, it's in your home, in your communities, in your countries. That's what really motivated me to join this campaign. Because as I said, a lot of good things are happening in your countries. You don't have to go to Dubai to talk about it. You can just make up like the platform that we are providing globally. It's a virtual summit. It's free. We're not even charging them. And you can just come up, share your story, whether you talk about, we have these beautiful segments, 12 segments that we've made: nature and dignity, ultimate book of trees, peace. We're singing, we're having comedy shows. We're making it fun, and we're trying to give that platform so that they can come and share their story and people will get motivated. You don't have to go to Dubai to spend so much money and just to give your presentation on a PowerPoint and saying that, oh, I'm from Pakistan or I'm from Somalia and we are doing this. I mean, for me, that's what it's for you is. It's for everyone.
Yeah, beautiful. I love it. All right. So your community, to get them involved, what can they do? I've got the sign up link here and I'll put all the contact and social media in the show notes. But what are you encouraging people around the world to do? How can they be part of this?
Well, I would like to tell them to join our campaign. As I said, it's free. You can just come up, sign up for It's For You campaign, share your story with your videos, with your pictures, even just the talk. If you're representing indigenous communities, you're working on tree plantation, working on plastic pollution, anything related to climate, let's make it fun. It is Conference of the Parties. It is COP28, Let's hear your global stories and be part of the It's For You campaign that we are offering internationally to everyone, whether you're a youth network, whether you're a corporate, whether you're a private, whether you're an educationist, whether you're a social activist. It's for you, it's for me, it's for everyone.
Yeah, nice. I love it. Well, look, you're working really hard. I watched the launch live stream and I thought it was really inspiring and it was so amazing to hear everyone's stories. You're bringing amazing people into the communication that you're sharing, and just encourage everyone to follow you on social media. You're active on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram. You can sign up into any of the areas that we're talking about. Like, I love the dignity one. Oh, I'm also thinking of doing a video where I'm going to talk about my memories of trees. I love the idea of the Book of Trees because I think every one of us has got a tree memory, but I've actually got tree memories that sort of go throughout my life, and I thought that's such a beautiful idea. So I know that you're going to be exhausted by the end of this, but thank you for your work, and also thank you for just being a positive messenger out there in the world, because we need that. And I love this campaign. So congratulations and thanks for joining us today.
Thank you so much. It was really nice talking to you, and I love to be in touch with you. I'll ask you. I know I host shows as well. It's that you are interviewing me, but I would like, what do you think about climate change? Because it's everywhere, and what are your thoughts about it? And what do you feel about COP28?
Yeah, look, it's we're going to do another show. And I also host another show called Climate Courage. I'd love to talk to you about travel and tourism, because I think that's such an important topic within the climate conversation. But for me, I stay on top of what's going on, and I'm very, very, very concerned. What's happening in the Amazon at the moment. I always knew everything was coming faster anyway, but I really wasn't expecting what we're seeing in the Amazon, at least until 2040, 2050. So that's really, really freaking me out. What's going on in Antarctica, ecosystem collapse. I'm collecting a document. I'm going to publish it as a blog soon on all of the extinctions and mass die-offs that are happening around the world. And I really believe that every extinction event, every extreme heat event, every ecosystem collapse brings us closer and closer to the edge. So we're really, really out of time, but we're not on the edge yet, so we've got to rewild our world. We've got to take care of this world. We've got to do everything we can, to pull back from the brink. A lot of people think we're too late, but I actually think if we could get 1 billion people across the world together and acting and doing what they can and rewilding their communities and making sure the communities are safe. So adaptation is a big thing for me, especially with the heat that's coming for all of us next year. It was hot this year, but next year and I know in Pakistan, you've experienced much more severe heat, and India and Bangladesh, obviously in Iran. But then we had 59.7 wet bulb temperatures in Brazil before it was even summertime. I mean, so I'm concerned, and that's my message: 1 billion people getting together, acting, changing, rewilding, doing everything we can to pull us back from the brink, and that's to me is our best chance. So that's where my focus is these days. But always keeping the hope in the mix. I don't like the word hope, positivity, because.
In the end, I would just like to add, because I missed out, I'm also working very passionate, as I said, about tourism and sustainability, ecotourism. I would like to add in the end that ecotourism resorts concept has come all across the globe. You're a traveler, I'm a traveler. A lot of people are investing in these ecotourist lodges. I think that's a good start. And we have a long way to go, but we have to follow the proper guidelines. My dream, I don't know whoever was watching my interview, I don't have the investments, but I would like to be the first one to have a proper eco-tourist lodge in Pakistan in the northern areas. I have interacted a lot of people, companies across the globe, but I wish that we start with this journey, because tourism is also playing a havoc for environmental challenges, the plastic pollution. We go to these beaches, we go to these beautiful places. I don't know, I mean, India, Pakistan, and all these places, we're polluting it. Domestic tourism is like a mess when you come. And I literally have tears in my eyes because I'm a nature lover. And when I just go and sit around that lake and see so much plastic pollution, I stopped visiting those places because it's so sad to see them. And our humans are destroying our beautiful surroundings. So that's an interesting topic. I would like to have a discussion with you separately on sustainable tourism, ecotourism, and green tourism.
Yeah, I look forward to that. All right, we are in touch, and we will stay in touch. All right, thanks for joining me. It's been really great to meet you, and take care of your energy levels in the next couple of weeks. Okay.
Bye.
All right. Bye.
Uncommon courage.
Well, there she was, Andrea Edwards interviewing Sadaf and having a discussion about what sustainability means and what Sadaf's goals are in life.
And, listening to the stories from Pakistan over this week of the people and the steps they do, the aspects of the tourism, the aspects by which, they are facing some of the worst air pollution ever experienced in the world today. And so much of, kind of the plastics we make comes from the oil that we dig out. It is really it is really something worth kind of remembering about, right?
It's very sobering, because actually that is something what I've understood over the last couple of days is something very intimately associated with Pakistan in particular, that the plastic pollution is just absolutely brutal. And we don't see it here in the same sense.
Yeah, and this whole aspect, what can you make with 1 barrel of oil? What's in that effectively 1 barrel? And, basically we use 100 million barrels of oil a day. And so what that means is that out of that 100 million barrel, a single barrel can produce 65 plastic drinking cups.
Yeah.
So 1 barrel is 6.5 billion plastic drinking cups. That's what you can make in 1 day.
Yeah.
And so that's a staggering amount, and that goes down to the fact that how oil, gas, and coal, the fact that we keep digging them out and using it, is not only adding to the warming of the planet and the climate and the changes along with the weather conditions changing and devastation that does, but it's actually pushing through in keeping all of the materials that we want to hold ourselves away from, that kind of constant supply. So what do you think about that, Richard?
Well, I go back to my basic, very fundamental view, which is if you produce it, you're going to consume it. And we will always, always keep on producing it as long as someone somewhere is able to turn a profit, even if it's very small. You are going to produce it. So the only way for us actually to take this production out of circulation is to have the ownership right.
Okay, well, maybe this is the right time for us just to play our call for a market to keep oil, gas, and coal in the ground. And we will just have enough time for that before switching over to our closing ceremony, which will start at 4 p.m. GMT. If you wish to join us on Zoom, it is bit.ly/itsforyou_closing_ceremony. So we'll have that running across the ticker as we play the call for a market to keep oil, gas, and coal in the ground.
This was a slide that we saw for the first time more or less exactly 2 years ago when the IPCC's number 6 report came out. The circles added are actually our own. This is basically where we grow all our food today. As our temperature rises and the soil where we grow our food loses its ability to retain water. This is a recipe for massive geopolitical conflict. It was a massive wake-up call for me and David. And it was really the start of how we thought about what could be done.
And of course, a lot of these regions are actually not growing crops for food. They're growing crops for sustainable plastic, for sustainable fuel. So it influences our economy in a very fundamental way. Coming from an investment background and having had 30 years making money for big money, we've come to realize that if you've got something which isn't working, you have to do something about it. And what isn't working at the moment is the reduction in the oil and the gas and the coal production that we have. And to the story of the fact that we can triple our renewable energy by 2030, even when we do that, we would still be increasing our oil and gas and coal production if our energy demand just continues on its path. Having come to that conclusion, we then started on thinking, how can we actually change this? And that's why It's For You came out. And the problem is an economic one. Are people going to pay in order to keep oil, gas, and coal in the ground? And that's one of the challenges that we faced. And we spoke to many people. The problem, they say, is people don't care. So we then thought we'll find out with It's For You. And we went and we heard many of the stories in the past 6 days, and they have been emotional. They have been really moving. And we have had this aspect where the reflections have brought us to ask, what do we really want? Do we really want to keep oil, gas, and coal in the ground? Do we really want to think that actually our projects to regenerate and to heal the planet and to bring about a better equality, a better dignity to every person there, do we really want that to be supported by oil, gas, and coal being kept in the ground? We came across a remarkable gentleman, Preston, who actually has a business that does that. And here he is talking a little bit about how he does it.
So I think there is a hesitancy to pay for what you and Richard and all of us are working on here, which is to really go after the ownership of the minerals.
Yeah.
Because I think unless you live here in the United States, it's really government-owned minerals. And it seems kind of like an audacious task to go after purchasing or getting some sort of an operating agreement with the government for control of those minerals. Here in the U.S., obviously, roughly 66% of the minerals are owned by people other than the U.S. government. So it makes it a lot easier. But the next step is, okay, so we're going to buy these minerals, David and Richard. So how do we actually have a return on our investment? And so I think there's an unfamiliarity, or well, there's beginning to be a familiarity that, wait, you can make carbon offsets out of these things. But then they immediately come back and say, well, you're going to have 100% leakage because you're going to take your coal out and then they're just going to mine it someplace else.
Yep.
And, you know, that's an argument that everyone throws out because it's just I don't want to do it, so it's leakage.
And indeed, this leakage problem, right? And it becomes a rationalization in some ways. There are those that says it will just finish. You know, there is only so much oil and gas and coal, and by the time we finish the transition, they'll just run out. And Preston again had this to say about that.
And then the other argument that I run into is that people don't understand is, I'm going to use fake numbers just for simple math for Richard and David and I. Let's just say we have in the United States 100 million tons of active mining projects at any given time today. Okay, so let's just say we're mining 20 million tons a year. So it'd be 100, 80, 60, 40, 20, 0.
Yep.
Okay, but the reality is, no, it's 100. Last year was 100, and next year is 100.
Exactly.
Well, why is that? Because we're adding reserves on a daily basis to make up for that we're removing.
And there you go. And Richard, maybe you can explain also why this aspect where the renewable energy becoming cheaper is also not going to make the change.
Well, this is a real area of controversy. And today, wind, solar, and hydro power is very, very competitive. Its marginal cost is below a lot of fossil fuel production. Certainly, the marginal oil field, which at the moment is basically fracking in the US, potential deep water drilling in various Atlantic shelves, or tar sands in Canada, are significantly more expensive than the marginal cost of renewable energy. But I remain somewhat skeptical for a simple fact. There is no stopping the production of these more expensive fields if there is still demand for that energy. So even if the renewable energy producer might be able to turn a profit of $10 per whatever unit they produce, we will still mine coal and we will still drill a hole in the ground or in the sea pumping oil, even if we can only make $1. Because as long as someone somewhere can turn even a minuscule profit, it will be produced. And if it is produced, it will be consumed. So I remain skeptical about the story that only the cost of renewables will manage to displace traditional oil, gas, and coal fields.
So that brings on this conundrum in some sense, is really down to the owners of these assets, of these minerals. And what would the owners want to do? And the owners can get compensated for owning them and not taking them out. So you can imagine someone starting with that. But the people to compensate them are the people who need the carbon offsets, if they're treated as carbon offsets. But that will only go at a certain pace. But I think we need to move much faster than that, which is what people are talking about. And of course, in many ways, our elections have to deal with each election cycle, whereas our climate devastations are really dealing with a time that is measured in a very different way. So where does that leave Richard and me? And where does that leave you? And this is being for you. It leaves us with this sense that we need to create a very different sort of a market. And here it is. And we need to be able to create a market for keeping oil, gas, and coal in the ground. So imagine this. Imagine that you're about to go and propose and get married, and you're there going to looking for your wedding rings. And you're doing this because you have this wonderful vision of wanting to share a future, even if it is uncertain, that you want to have this journey together for that future. What better way than doing that than to know that somehow, in one form or another, a fraction of the money you pay for that special wedding ring goes to keeping oil, gas, and coal in the ground. And in doing that, in having something like this, it lets everybody see that this is the thing to do, simply that. And imagine if you're an employer and you want to motivate your employee and you want to give him a pay rise. What better way to really motivate him than to be able to say to him, look, I will match your pay rise to keep oil, gas, and coal in the ground. And if you can do that, then your employee will feel, actually, you know what, I am working for, even in whatever work I'm doing, I'm looking after our common home. And I'm creating a better future for my children and for all the people around me. And that itself can be quite motivating. And Richard, what about you? What do you think about going to a Taylor Swift concert? How would you think of a fraction of that ticket? Because you go to music concerts all the time.
I think it fits very, very well into the overall picture of saying, when I spend my money, I'm going to spend it with those who I think make my life better. Now let's think about that for a second. I want to direct that spending towards those who make my life better. If I am worried about the future, and I certainly am, then I want the recipients of the money I spend on goods and services to actually be committed to taking oil, gas, and coal out of production and keeping it in the ground. So if I'm prepared to spend $100 on an artist I do want to go and see, it's reasonable that a couple of dollars on that ticket gets redirected towards keeping oil, gas, and coal in the ground. And that applies to all goods and services I can think of. And the mathematics is actually very, very simple. Every business needs its clients and customers, because otherwise you won't remain in business. And all governments need businesses, because otherwise they will not be able to raise revenue and provide the services that the citizens demand from them. So when all that fits together, and given that our economic model is based on us continuing to consume and spend money on these goods and services, we actually have enormous power as consumers of the world to opt to spend our dollar in the pocket with those companies who are committed to keeping oil, gas, and coal in the ground.
And the essence is, by investors knowing that there is such a market, that there is such an interest to keep oil, gas, and coal in the ground through our spending. And as far as government's concerned, what this does is it actually increases our spending, and that's a good thing for our overall economy. But in doing it in a way that actually helps all the regeneration and the healing we need for our planet, because it's spending that actually goes to keeping oil, gas, and coal in the ground, as opposed to extracting more of it out to harm and poison our planet and all on it in that form. So this becomes a turning over, a flipping of the table, and a new way of actually creating an economy, creating a market that actually moves everything forward, allowing people that choice for them to be able to say, you know what, the money I spend, I can choose who to direct it to. And if I see these people and they are part of the group who are redirecting it to keep oil, gas, and coal in the ground, investors will be able to come in and will be able to say, you know what, these assets, they're worth buying to keep in the ground because I can be paid on one side in terms of carbon credits, and that generally is associated with the production that's ongoing. And that can come on through by saying, you know what, we'll match it to the renewable energy that's being produced, so that we can match and keep making sure that we have the energy we need. And then on the other side, you can keep those reserves down and start eating away on those reserves, so that out of the 100 million tons, and we take out 20, and then we take out another 20, we genuinely will see that there is only 60 left, and then only 40 left. And in that way, the whole change, the innovations and the creativity would come along and say, how can we move and actually help ourselves to go forward? And that's where technology gets the backing into moving everything together. And so it both liberates us and frees us from this tyranny of the climate, So that's our call, to create a market for keeping oil, gas, and coal in the ground, to be able to express our wish that a fraction of the money we spend goes into keeping oil, gas, and coal in the ground.
Indeed. It actually is that simple. We need to create this market for people to see the true cost of the use of oil, gas, and coal, and for us to actually find an economic way of leaving it in the ground. Make no mistake about it. It can be done. We have that power.
And to finish off with just one last thing. If all this seems impossible and all this seems like you can't do this, well, it's the same as what Preston talked about. These are just rationalizations. Because it's time that we put procrastination aside. It's time to believe in the impossible, because waiting is no longer an option. So very much hope that we'll get the support of all the people. We really want to raise this so that we can go along, and for everybody to talk about the possibility of creating a market for keeping oil, gas, and coal in the ground, where you can have your spending, and your spending becomes a part of the money that will be able to do that. So thank you very much. Well, Richard, what do you reckon? How do you find that? Richard? I'm afraid you're muted, my young man.
I am muted. I was just trying to move over to Zoom, and I got twin commands on my screen. So multitasking as a man does not come naturally. What can I say? There we are.
And of course, we go to Zoom later, because that's where our closing ceremony will be, and we'll be streaming that into this. They are preparing that as we speak at the moment. We have just enough time to go for for one more interview between one of our team and Andrea. Shall we do that, Mr. Jinnah?
I think we should absolutely do that. Mr. Jinnah has also been essential in our efforts, although he's not so often seen on the screen. He's been there all the time. He's keeping tab of us all, and he's the man behind it all, really.
Here he goes.
Welcome to 12 Days of COP. I'm your host, Andrea Edwards, and today I am delighted to introduce you to Muhammad Ali Jinnah, who is joining us from Pakistan. Welcome.
Thank you. How are you? And thanks to everyone, all those COP28 people who are listening to us. Thank you very much for joining us. Yes, please proceed.
No, it's great. So let's start with your background and your passion for the environment, of course.
Great. I'm an IT professional, and I've got, some knowledge some education from England and some from Australia, the Brisbane, Australia. And I'm living in Pakistan since '92, but I'm living here by choice. Believe you me, this is a wonderful country, and I'm living here by choice. And you are asking about the environment. In the back in 2000, I think around 5 years ago, I read an article on newspaper, leading newspaper in Pakistan, and it says that Karachi may sink into oceans by 2060. It was very alarming, because on normal cases, my son would be 20 years old in 2060. So I really got scared. I said, look, let me just do some research. And then I came to know that, it was an article was sent to the upper, house in Pakistan, called Senate, that, all the coastal cities in Pakistan, they are in dangers, and the government should do something about it. So, that's why, that's, I've got involved into this, the United Nations SDGs. So I'm representing the company called SDGs Private Limited, and I'm look after Sindh province, Pakistan. And I'm the project director for Sindh for SDGs awareness programs. And so we do all those kind of awareness on school level, university level, college level, corporates, everywhere we go and we introduce. And of course, it's a industry specific. So we have 18 goals. It used to be 17, now is 18 goals. And we do awareness program. So in which the goal number 7 and goal number 13 is, directly involved with the environment, because the clean energy and the climate change, they go hand to hand together. And also just I like to add one more thing. Another thing who actually pushed me to involve in this kind of activities, that Barack Obama once said that we are the first nation who going to face the environment changes, but same time we are the last nation who couldn't do something about it. So that's why because it's my responsibility, the shared responsibility actually, to do something about the awareness, at least awareness. Yes, please.
Yeah. So are you still working in IT, or are you now working 100% exclusively on the STG training?
Well, no. Yeah, I work as a CSR, so it's my corporate social responsibility. So for my bread and butter come from my job, which is I'm the GM IT of one of the the group of companies in Pakistan. So that's I earn my bread and butter from there. And for CSR, I work on SDGs and do awareness program. On Friday, I do one program every Friday. It's around 8 p.m. Pakistan time, and tomorrow I'll be going 160th program. It's for the emerging technologies related to SDGs.
Oh, congratulations. So I suppose 5 years ago when you read about the rising seas, you probably realized now that those seas are probably going to be rising a lot sooner than before your grandson turns 20, right? What's the population in Karachi for people who won't be as familiar with Pakistan?
Well, we have a 250 million population in Karachi. We have something like 30 million population we have in Karachi. Around 30 million.
Yeah, so 250 million in the country, 30 million in the city, right? So massive cities, but potentially being impacted. We're seeing it with Jakarta in Indonesia. We're seeing Bangkok's at risk. So, and of course, all of the alarming news around the glacial melts. So I could imagine. And then, of course, Pakistan's gone through some shocking experiences last year with the glacial melt, the floods. People are still displaced. I mean, you are definitely a country on the front line facing this crisis long before so many. I mean, everybody on the planet has practically experienced an extreme heat or weather event now, but nowhere like what you have experienced in Pakistan. It must be very challenging.
Yes, it is very challenging, and wherever we have this environment, the conferences or seminars or people who talk about the environment, I say, look, very strange. The Pakistan is the top 10 countries in the world who are going to suffer the climate change, going to be affected by climate change. But yet we are victim. Actually, we have never contributed on those climate issues because we never have those big motor industry or steel mill or kind of stuff who actually created the this main effect on the environment, ozone layer and stuff like that. And but yet we are we are the victim. So I think all that the the developing country who are developed, they should do something about the underdeveloping countries, especially countries like Pakistan and nearby countries who are suffering a lot because of the environment issue. We have a sort of unprecedented flood we have, the heavy rain we have, everything is something which has never been before. So and we are suffering of it. Yes, please.
Yeah. No, absolutely. I 100% agree, and I see it myself here in Asia, and I'm feeling it getting worse and worse, and the impacts are getting worse and worse. Have there been any announcements at COP28 that have caught your attention, whether for good or for bad? Has anything come out so far that sort of got you?
Because since I'm into on the the awareness program of SDGs in Pakistan, so like for me knowing something happening, I think it's not unique. But the general people, yes, because the COP27 was a hit. The lot of lot of things on news, and especially in this COP28, the two girls won something like 100 million, I think $100,000 from the Kashmir. I think they have won the some sort of award. So I think people are aware of it, and of course Pakistan is participating at COP28. And but we all concerned that because the challenge which all those COP series are facing, there are a lot of big announcement, but on surface is very little to see. Maybe I'm like maybe I'm ignorant, maybe I being naive to know what's happening, but on the surface, very less is aware, on the surface.
Yeah.
Yes,
I'll have
please.
to look out for those girls in Kashmir. Yeah, I mean, we've got another week of rumblings and background sort of discussions and potential deals going on. So, but I think if they don't come out strong in this one, I think I don't know how COP can be a credible sort of body moving forward, because what the world has now seen, we've finally got the evidence that everybody said wasn't real. So yeah, so we've got another week or so before we'll hear that. But it's for you. That's the whole campaign that Dr. David Coe and Richard Busolato are leading, and there's a great team around that's really, I'm finding the work incredibly inspiring. So what does it's for you mean for you?
Actually, because I'm, luckily, I have a 2 cents in here when I'm working with the David Coe and Roberts, and of course, Sadaf and Iram and Inger, I'm part of them. But, when I've told them, when you say it's for you, actually, it's for me. So whatever, you people are doing, you're doing for me. So that's why, I'm part of it, because I want to create the awareness, and, I want to whole world knows that, country like Pakistan, we are, badly hit by the environment, and yet we haven't never contributed anything on this climate change. I am working just to people, like to raise my voice, just to put my 2 cents about this environment. The environment is not a fun, it's a very serious affair, and people should do something about it. Wherever they are, wherever you are, whatever you can do something about environment. Is a very, very challenging. Is a worse than having a, God forbid, having a world war. Is a worse than that, because environment doesn't have any protocol. It doesn't have any kind of protocol, or any like a UN agreement, how they're going to react. They just react when it's react. So it's very, very serious.
Yeah, it's the reacting that worries me. We need to be getting ready for it, right? We need to be doing so many things now that we're just not doing. We're not preparing at all. The whole adaptation side is a huge concern, because we know what's coming. We're not getting ready for the heat. And I know in Pakistan, you've experienced extreme heat for the last couple of years. You've experienced the floods. The crop losses. There's so many impacts. And last year at COP27, the Pakistan team was very strong and was being listened to because of what the country had gone through. And I feel that this year as well, Pakistan's got a strong voice on the stage. Do you feel that they've got a strong voice still?
Yeah, yes. Yes, we are. And because, of course, our prime minister was there too in the inauguration ceremony, and he spent a couple of days there. And I've seen a lot of Pakistani, delegations there. So I'm sure, afterwards this COP28 is over, when the report will come, then we know exactly, how they have contributed, and whether, and if they get anything out of it. The idea, the thing is, the result should be there. The presence is okay, good. It's the outcome is important. So we need to see what outcome we get. And once if the outcome is good, then we say, yes, we had a strong presence.
Yeah. No, great. Okay, so how can the people listening to us, your community, our friends, our families, how can they get involved in and embrace It's For You? What do you think?
Yeah, it's great. And, I want everyone, should raise your voice, should introduce people, should educate people about the environment. It's a very, very serious affair. It's not something, like you can ignore it. It's coming, it's there, it's not your choice. It's going to come, and it's coming. So that's why, everyone should be prepared, and should, raise your voice, tell everyone and what they should do, what they should not. And of course, when you follow goal number 3 or goal number 7 and 13, you get a lot of knowledge, a lot of information what we should be doing to protect your neighborhood, your country, your city. That's my message to everyone.
Yeah, nice. All right. Well, this has been awesome speaking to you. Have you got some final thoughts you'd like to share with the world before we sign off?
Before, I just like to repeat one thing. I said Pakistan is in the top 10 countries who are going to suffer the environment effect. We are the victim. We are not created it, and we have never been a part of it. So please, all those developed countries, they should do and should work for countries like Pakistan or countries like who's going to suffer, who are the victim. Actually, they have not contributed anything in it. So that's my message to everyone.
Yeah, we've got to fight for the beautiful people in the global south. They have done the least and they're suffering the most, and it's only going to get worse. And it's on the rest of us. So shrink your lifestyle, buy less stuff. You know, you don't need so many new clothes and shoes and handbags because they all contribute. Reduce your meat intake, go vegan if you can. You know, let's all just do what we can. And please, we have to vote for leaders who are committed to fighting the fight that we need to fight. You know, anyone who's a denier that gets elected right now that's just idiocy. And unfortunately, we're seeing too much of it. And by the way, extremism isn't the answer either. As far as politics go, that's going to be a nasty path forward. So yeah, I totally agree. And we've got to do the right thing and take care of our neighbours in the global south because they deserve it. And if we don't, like, we also have to accept the consequences of that, which includes mass migration, and no one's going to enjoy that either. So let's just do the job that we need to do, regardless of what happens at COP28, right?
Thanks for this opportunity. I'd like to thank everyone and thanks for this opportunity. It's been very nice talking to you. And, of course, like, I'm an optimistic person. If a one person can hear my voice, if a one person agreed what I'm saying, so it's a success. It's a big success.
Yeah, one
Thank
voice
you.
at a time, right? All right, see you guys. Thanks so much.
Uncommon courage should be everywhere.
Hello. Okay. So we're getting ourselves ready to go over to It's For You, and we will be ready for them in a moment. So they are preparing that along, and we'll be sharing over the screen over. So we're going to switch over to that now. So you catch us a little bit in preparation. Yes. Good. So,
we don't have any background sound during our live session, and only the people who will be speaking will be allowed to open their mic. So thank you so much for cooperation and your patience.
Yes. So let me also say that you're welcome to put your name in the chat and where you come from. That is, we welcome all of you to do that. So my name is Inge Mette, and I'm co-founding the 12 Days of COP together with Sadaf from Norway. Nice to see you all.
I want David Ko to be here. David Ko, yes. So David Ko, okay, you will be going live. We just have 3 minutes. So are you ready? Just 3 minutes for going live. Again, I'm requesting everybody who's joining us now just to keep your mic muted. Thank you so much, everyone. And you're willing to open your video screen if you're comfortable. You're open to, we can see you, that would be better. But if you're not comfortable, even then we're okay.
Let us go live.
David, are you ready? 1 minute. Countdown should start and the introduction conference video. Let's go live.
You have a glitch, David. Absolutely, absolutely. We can see the screen perfect. It's perfect, but it's not. It's stopping us. We can see. Okay.
It's okay. We can skip this. Let's go live and let's start the live session.
Yes.
Stop sharing. Thank you, David. It's okay, technology. Are we ready to go live?
It is live. So welcome everyone.
Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are. We welcome you all for the closing ceremony of the 12 Days of COP, which is happening in Dubai. And our campaign was It's for You, a symphony of billion voices. Once again, I thank you, all the people who've joined us from different parts of the world. I will welcome now David Koh, who's the co-founder of Rethinking Choices, to share his views and why he started this It's For You campaign. David Koh, you've got 5 minutes. Over to David Koh, who's joining us all the way from UK. Thank you, David, for your opening remarks. Now I will invite Richard, joining us from the UK, co-founder of Rethinking Choices, and his talk will be on the book that they wrote, Unsustainable Truth. Over to you, Richard. You've just got 5 minutes. Thank you.
Thank you, Sadaf. It's for you is really a journey that started when David and I left the investment industry, and we put our thoughts together into a book that became The Unsustainable Truth. That became the embryo to our ideas about how we can keep oil, gas, and coal in the ground. But the unsustainable truth is actually the naked journey of about some very, very unsustainable and uncomfortable truths that we discovered after 30 years in the investment industry. The first one is the simple fact that in today's world, there's too much money chasing too few opportunities. And when you come to that point, you are going to take those returns from those who can least afford it. That means we're going to continue to exploit all our corners of the world, and we are most of all going to take it from our planet. The planet has only so much to give, and it's an amazing place that can replenish itself, but we have to give it the chance to do so. If we keep on doing what we've been doing for decades and centuries even, this place will no longer be able to provide our common home and give us the financial returns we strive after, to be secure in our retirement, to put away a nest egg for children's education and looking after elderly parents. That is the unsustainable truth. And the reason lies very much at the heart of us being quite unnatural in the way we live our lives. There is no other animal or plant on this planet that spends a third of its life accumulating resources to be used in the final third of its life, stocking up so that we can stop contributing. It's very unnatural, and we have to rethink that. Because as more and more people join the quite wealthy in this world and start saving on a more structural scale, the planet will have less and less to give us. And it will be more and more difficult for us to find those return opportunities without harming our planet. That is the unsustainable truth. There is no way around it. Our savings are actually now starting to kill the planet, and we will all have to rethink what that means. And for us today, it started with this for you, and how we can move forward by keeping oil, gas, and coal in the ground. A carbon market will allow us to do that, where we can see the benefits and the costs of our use of oil, gas, and coal, naked and transparent for everyone, regardless where you live and what you do. That is the unsustainable truth. It's been a fantastic journey over these 12 days. We hope that you all have enjoyed it just as much as we have. And I want to finish off by thanking the whole team that has made it possible. Thank you, Sadaf. Thank you, everyone else.
Thank you, Richard, for the beautiful narration from the book Unsustainable Truth. As we say, it's a symphony of billion voices. I think it was a great teamwork, all the team from Africa who made a lot of effort in this whole campaign. Now I'm going to invite Mr. Benno Verlin. Thank you, Mr. Benno, who's the guest of honor for the closing ceremony. He's the UNESCO Chair on Global Understanding for Sustainability. He was born in 10th October 1952 in Switzerland. He holds the UNESCO Chair on Global Understanding for Sustainability, and as the Art and Sciences and the Max Weber Center for Culture and Social Studies. He's also the member of Academia Europaea, chair of the IGU Commission on Global Understanding. Welcome, sir, to the closing ceremony. Over to you.
Thank you, Sadaf. Thank you, organizers of It's For You campaign, the Symphony Voices for the COP28, for having me. Thank you to the team of East Africa Campuses and College Green Network and Wonderful Travel and Tours for enabling this event, together with the Jena Declaration project partners, Rethinking Choices, and the World Climate School. And of course, Sadaf Khalid from Pakistan as general coordinator of this It's For You campaign, and her brilliant talent for making it happen. Thank you, all of you. Dear participants in this closing ceremony, over the last couple of years, it became more and more obvious that humanity is indeed very close to missing the broadly agreed 17 Sustainable Development Goals in time. Today, most experts share this insight. And after COP28 at Dubai, perhaps all of them. One of the important reasons for this is certainly the not very convincing inclusion of science into implementation of the Agenda 2030. And this because it doesn't properly reach the key agent of societal transformation, the everyday actors, the civic society. We rather need, in the words of Gary Jacobs, the president of the World Academy of Arts and Science, summarizing the claims of the Jena Declaration, a broad-based social movement to transform thinking and action in ways that enable transition to globally sustainable living. However, it is most of all important to recognize the lack of thematic coherence in the scientifically not convincing political compromise. Who engages in it needs consequently to keep in mind its political nature as an expression of a commonly formulated political will. The political nature of the Agenda 2030 is certainly jointly responsible for the so far too slow implementation of the self-imposed goals, the Agenda 2030. And this is despite the considerable environmental and above all, financial efforts over recent decades. The reasons for this are manifold. In my view, the international structure approaching a global problem constellation is one of the most problematic aspects. But what else? By having a closer look at the constitutional process of the SDGs, one can recognize that even though they are the product of the largest consultation program in its history of the UN, the whole process has a top-down structure dominated by representatives of governmental institutions, science organizations, and NGOs. This structure undermines a broad inclusion of citizens of the planet. All are more or less trapped by these structural shortcomings. How can these shortcomings be overcome? How can the speed and depth of this necessary societal transformation be improved? How can the structural shortcomings be cleared? The Jena Declaration has the ambition to prepare some answers to these questions. In the following, I'll refer to its 7 key principles, offering an alternative approach to the Agenda 2030 and the climate change conferences. The first principle is a very simple one, but at the same time, very often forgotten. It's the insight that sustainability is about more than ecology. Much of today's thinking about sustainability is rooted in the idea that the human and the natural sphere are somehow opposed. The nature is simply our environment. But the opposite is true. With our bodies, we are part of nature. And the way we understand and transform nature depends on our cultural backgrounds. Therefore, sustainability is in fact about us, part of nature, not about simply managing ecosystems and the environment. The second principle refers to the idea that true change towards sustainability can only be achieved if people begin to change their everyday practices and routines. Or in other words, really sustainable change can only happen if it's done and accepted and aimed by everyday people, everyone on the planet. Sustainability is more than just a fashion. It is, in fact, a mindset, something that enables us to live sustainably. Here, especially, the voice of the arts can make a powerful contribution in the form I just mentioned, establishing new ways of connecting with the world to find sustainable solutions for everyday problems in most diverse contexts. This idea leads directly to the third principle. It is about the deficiencies of top-down approaches. If you have ever bought a one-size-fits-all shirt, you may know that one size only rarely fits all. The same holds for solutions to achieve sustainability. Top-down approaches that prescribe solutions for everyone hardly succeed. Instead, we need to find solutions that fit the specific conditions in different contexts, or, more precisely, we need to empower people to develop such solutions themselves. As a direct consequence of this, we can say, as a fourth principle, cultural and regional diversity shall be the starting point of any sustainability strategy. Everything people do is locally emplaced, historically situated, and culturally embedded. It is difficult to conceive people to make their lives more sustainable if the proposition doesn't find even the slightest anchor in their everyday world. So, successful sustainability strategies need to embrace cultural and regional differences instead of ignoring the richness of our world.
Mr. Benno is muted, I think, by mistake. Mr. Benno, you're muted. Can you unmute, sir?
I'm not having muted, hopefully all the time.
No. Just 30 seconds. Carry on.
I don't know what happened. And the fifth principle is about the role of the arts, of humanistic and social research. The arts open up new horizons. They can design in advance a different world. Likewise, the social sciences and humanities help us understand the social and cultural dimensions of the current transformation and get us away from the first 8 solutions. The Vienna Declaration argues that the arts and social and humanistic research are key for making living sustainably not only possible, but even enjoyed by everyone. The sixth principle highlights that true bottom-up strategy involves a change of our ways of producing and applying knowledge. Many sustainability policies try to teach and tell others how to do things properly, without knowing their cultural context, without respecting their expertise. We are convinced that rubber solutions must be developed together, and that there are a great potential for collaborative co-production of new knowledge. The basis for this is mutual learning from each another. To hold these six guidelines coherently together, we need the seventh principle. It calls for civic engagement. Real bottom-up policies enable to use the forces and creativity of concerned citizens of all generations, but especially of the young members of our global community. To make this engagement more effective, we want to develop a global platform to facilitate concerned action by people all around the world, whether they are researchers, teachers, or concerned citizens. These are, in a nutshell, the 7 key principles of the Vienna Declaration. The Vienna Declaration is an invitation to make sustainable development happen at your doorstep, to mobilize people around the planet, and to enable fruitful outcomes of their engagement. Instead of blaming others for not doing enough of the right things or for doing the wrong ones, it calls for a personal involvement in and engagement for change. Let me use an example out of Lord's tradition. In ancient times, when a child was born, the parents planted a tree as a material basis to build a baby cradle for the child of just born new citizen. Of course, in modern times, this tradition disappeared. But this is a good example for the duration of sustainable foresight in a nature-based rhythm. And perhaps today, every world citizen should plant at least more than one tree to catch up the delay we have run into. This example brings me to the last part of my intervention, congratulating all of our winners and thanking all speakers in the For You campaign, a symphony of opinion voices for COP28. To all the global participants who were part of the 12 days of COP28 and appreciate their effort for working on climate change project, received the Climate Award with certificate of appreciation. These are representatives of Pakistan, of Kenya, the UK, India, Norway, Brazil, Jamaica, Germany, Zimbabwe, Ghana, Greece, the Philippines, USA, Las Vegas, Sweden, Australia, Thailand, Saudi Arabia, and Cameroon. Last but not least, I would like to thank all the speakers for their amazing contributions to the climate change project in their countries, or in short, for their amazing contribution to reach global sustainability in the spirit of the Vienna Declaration. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you, Mr. Benno, for appreciating all the participants who have joined us all across the world And I'm sure everybody will be having questions. Mr. Benno, if you have time, you can please remain till the end. But if not, we will take questions and we will hand it over to you later. So I'm going to share this certification of appreciation. It will be sent by my team after the closing ceremony. And I'm especially going to thank Areva from Kenya, who has been making these certificates 2 and 3 a.m. in the morning because there were so many. So thank you, Areva, for creating these beautiful certificates of appreciation and the award. So this is the certificate of appreciation, Mr. Benno. We will be giving to you, and similar, we are awarding all the participants who contributed to the It's For You campaign and made it a symphony of billion voices. Now I will ask Inger Met, my co-host for the closing ceremony, who joined all the way from Oslo, and she has been with us non-stop 12 days DJing and creating this beautiful video which David is going to play. Now I think he's uploaded it on YouTube. Over to you, Inger Met, co-founder of World Planet School from Norway.
Thank you, Sadaf, and thank you, Benno, for the anchors into the culture and diversity and a culture of peace and the culture of the arts for humankind. And I also always like to say that it's for human kindness. And so thank you so much for that. I will also like to call for our friends from Kenya to come on stage and to ask Kaka and Collins to come. I can spotlight them for all of us. But I'd like to spotlight everyone, I have to say, because it's been an amazing 12 days. I feel exhausted, and I'm sure all of us in the lead coordination team is doing that. So can we let me get Kaka? He's on his mobile phone, but let us get add you to the spotlight, Kaka. And thank you for all the effort and all the work you've done, and send us the greetings to the world from the Eastern African campuses and colleges and Green Network. I say the whole sentences because you are more than 36 universities and 10 colleges in the Eastern African region, and beyond that, you are even around the whole African continent, I believe. So please, over to you, Kaka.
Thank you very much, our guest, Mr. Benno, and our team, Dr. David, Richard Insemetro, Inga Meta, the organizing team, and my good team that have been working around the clock to ensure that this is a success. I want to first of all allude my appreciation and my from the deepest point of my heart that it's for you global campaign as more than a family to ensure that those people who will not people who decided they're going to spend their money with people that they think they can the planet better place are really the hero, and that is because of the link to this. My name is Kaka Isaiah. I'm from Nairobi, Kenya, and I am the founder and the director of the East Africa Campus Colleges Green Network. It's a vibrant network across East Africa which strives to climate action in livelihood. And Mr. Benno, I
heard there's a technology glitch. Can you hear Kaka? I can't hear him.
We can hear.
Yes, we can hear Kaka. Go ahead. Kaka, we can hear you. Can you just go ahead?
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can, my dear.
All right, so thank you. I just want to say thank you because I don't have much time, but I want to say that there is no point in this as we strive to make the planet better for all of us. When the young people are excluded, I've really seen a lot of platforms, young people are being excluded by one particular forum for bringing a lot of young people to participate with this. Actually, I'm here in Nairobi. We are about 50 of us from the East region, And we want to really thank you for the whole conversation that we've been having. I can't say how much. I'm quite kind of emotional for this particular moment, but I really want to say thank you so much for everybody who took their time, their resources, to make sure that they are contributing to this particular moment. And I want to assure you that what we believe in, by the fact that we don't want to leave anyone behind, is what this campaign aims to bring every voice from different parts of the world, from the indigenous community to the media to the family, from all over the world, and to ensure that everybody's voice is participating, to ensure that we are all of us contributing small by small to make sure that we make this plan a better place. I want to quote Wangari Maathai. Sometimes back he said that you go out and bring that hummingbird, the hummingbird that bring the voice from wherever it is, and when that voice comes, you need that the voice of hope, is the voice of reckoning that is calling everybody to come out and share their voices out. And we would love to say thank you very much. And I can't give more thanks to everybody that I'm seeing here who are coming from all over the world. Quick shout out to my people who are here. We have a couple of media. We have Voice of America here with us, and we have H24 also here from Nairobi. I'm pretty sure after this particular moment they're going to mash up this to make sure that also people who are not part of this are able to see what the job is for you. Our global campaign has been all about. Thank you very much, and thank you once again.
Yes, thank you, Kaka. I am thinking, do you have, Benno, I do have a question for you. This for the Vienna Declaration, and to be a member and to have outreach and to have a UNESCO is about culture and education. Could you explain something about educational outreach for the Vienna Declaration, how you look at that and the history of Vienna, maybe?
Yeah. I mean, for the education, the important part is that schools around the planet are organized in disciplines. We are learning about flowers, we are learning about animals, we are learning about this and that. But it's an analytical way to see, to train people to see the world. They are disciplined in the pure sense of the word. They are disciplined how they should see the world. And this is highly problematic because it is, as I call it, a kind of imperialistic approach to ask people, to ask everyone to see the world in the logic of science, of scientific disciplines. That's okay for training young researchers and so on. But in everyday life, the world is not organized according to the disciplinary order of the disciplinary division of labor of scientific work. We have to learn how things are linked together, and that's why we should start in education much more from everyday problems, from everyday problem constellations, and then asking what can different stock of knowledges as formed by scientific research contribute to the solution? What can arts contribute to the solution? What can the insight of local people contribute to the solution, and so on? I mean, we need to learn to use the advantages of learning from one another and learning together about problem solutions. And we can't wait until scientists find a solution for everything and everywhere, because the world is different in every point of the planet. Of course, also similar, but specifically different. And we have to take into account these differences and the cultural backgrounds of the people living in certain places, because if they should change certain aspects of their life, then we have to know their cultural background. Otherwise, we force them. We don't take them in a democratic, respectful way into the problem solution. I think that's an important point, and I think that's why UN sustainability policies is not moving faster forward, because people are defending themselves, their culture, because they want to change it just because of certain
scientific insights without understanding them properly. So we have to go down and to strengthen also science, the scientist engagement for the everyday world, but not behaving like a scientist, but behaving like a world citizen and giving and caring for one another. And we have to develop in schools also the idea of solidarity.
Yes.
If we are not creating solidarity among us, we will not survive the challenges we are confronted, most likely, in the future decades. Humanity will be confronted in future decades. And in addition, we also should learn in schools that there are no natural disasters. There are only disastrous ways of behaving from the human side, but these are not natural disasters. There are social disaster or individual disaster, depending on what level we are looking at. And I think this is a very important point for education in respect of sustainability and to foster engagement of everyone and its place in his area of living and contributing to a better way of living. Just a last example, maybe. My idea about sustainability is not to put people in a cage and tell them what to do. Sustainability should be joyful. It should be playful. If you give kids a ball, they start to kick it and they have fun, just kicking the ball. And that's how it should be with sustainability. Everybody should be engaged to improve his or her life, to do it with others, and to enjoying ways of living that are not just based on the use of consumption and resources, but by giving and sharing things together.
Yes, absolutely. I think that's the message from David Coe and Richard as well, and the initiative of the climate change is about joy. When society is collapsing or the economic system is collapsing, the joy might be gone, and that's why this thing about celebration and that story came alive during It's For You campaign and before that as well. So it is a commentary about the nature, and we are nature, we are water. Nature is not outside us; it's inside us, human as well. And it's so, and also this the Greek stories we've been having from our friend from Greece is like the cosmology of the universe and the microcosmos goes together, and this is the ecological movement. And rightly, as you say, this is not, it is in fashion to be sustainable now, but it's deeper than that. It's an eco lifestyle, as you said, and it is an act of love. And I'd like you to close your words with a few comments on that, maybe. It's an act of love.
The point is, in my view, it's very simple to blame others and to feel above them, to feel better than them by saying, oh, why they don't do that? And if they don't do that, then I block streets or whatever. But this is not a way of living in a democratic sense, in my understanding at least. We should be respectful about ourselves, but even more about others, independent of where they are living. And we should understand that we have responsibilities for all other people on the planet by the way we are living. If you are polluting more of our common goods, like air, like water, as we are cleaning, then, I mean, the balance will be a disaster, and it is a disaster. I mean, there is a wonderful art piece of breathing, showing when you are breathing, in fact, we are breathing the whole atmosphere. If the atmosphere is polluted, we are getting sick. And this is a wonderful or a perfect example to show that we are part of nature. We are not the opposite of it. We are living in and with nature as nature, but the way we are doing things is coordinated director by our cultural background. And that's where we have to change things in a respectful way.
Yes. Last words from you, David.
I don't know if I'm allowed to ask a quick question, Inga.
Please.
Yeah, to Mr. Beno. I wanted just to quickly ask, because as much as I know is that apart from UNESCO being a specialized agency in terms of the scientific and cultural education, I'm also concerned about how the international cooperation organize aspects like things to do with peace, I guess, and through multiple aspects. I know they're quite linked to other United Nations branches, but I know that UNESCO is really the true wing of this. I was just asking quickly concerning the young people participation, and especially with the area around, for instance, what we do with ECCGN. We've got so many research startups. We have got within us, we have students who are doing research on medicine and other things like using natural herbs to come up with medicine, and others are using science basically to curb the issues of climate change. I don't know how UNESCO has been really be intriguing in participate to ensure that the young people's voice are also included in this decision making, because one of the biggest challenges that we've been having, and this has been cutting across even to multilateral meetings and high level meetings, is that in so many forums the young people's voice has been really excluded in terms of participation. And if you look at some of this framework, particularly the legal framework that has been drafted, less than 4% of the young people are participating in terms of decision making, and this is what we've been seeing across the globe. Also, and anytime we go to these meetings, we say that the young people are the solutions. Everybody is yearning that the young people are the solution, but when it comes to giving a platform to participate, it becomes very, very hard. I don't know, as a leader from UNESCO, I don't know what your point is onto this. And not just maybe to UNESCO, maybe you might also be having a word on the other climate action platforms across United Nations, and what exactly can we do to bring a different narrative, especially on the reduction of oil, gas, and coal, because fossil fuels has really been a big thing. And we are having a conversation the other day about the climate activists, the young people who are always on the fight of this, and some of the solutions that they are trying to air their voices on the streets. If you see them lifting their banners every day and fossil fuels, it looks like their efforts never materialize. And this is one of the biggest things that we are having in the whole continent in terms of this. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, to give a rather short answer to your very long question, your key point is how young people can bring them into the policies advertised and supported by UNESCO. The point is, in my view, all these organizations are trapped in structural contradictions. I mean, by being international, their partners are nation states. So you have the national representative of education that are voting on UNESCO proposals and so on in the General Conference. And in my understanding, this is a very complicated constellation, because despite the fact that it's an international organization, it's driven by national interests, and they are balanced or organized by the administration, in this case in Paris, UNESCO headquarters in Paris. And therefore, it's again not directly going to the citizens. It's going through the citizens to the political representatives. And they are filtered by political constellation in every country, or even dictatorship or whatever. So I think we should take the ideas out of UNESCO that are suitable, that we are finding interesting, but we don't have to wait for UNESCO or UN resolutions. We have to work or act faster, and we have to organize ourselves. We cannot wait until this huge machinery of international negotiations, of national agreements, and when it's becoming critical, countries are walking out because they don't feel them represented and so on. You know, we have to do, I think people like David, Ingemette, and I, and all people here from the different projects, I see the duty of the older generation to support the implementation of good solutions coming from the basis. We are not governments. We don't have to wait for governments, but we have to organize the means and tools that these things can be implemented. And if you have 50% of the world population citizens engaged in that, we can achieve more than the governments do. But of course, we can also push the governments to engage in that policies, to support this initiative of its citizens, and not only the decision of ministries or international negotiations on international contracts. They remain abstract, then they remain distant. People are not making them to their thing, and people are doing things only good if they are making it to their thing, to their project. And that's for that we have to learn and to use their language, and not to combine with the language of international diplomacy.
Thank you, Mr. Benno, for that answer. And when you were talking, it was exactly what was going in your mind. It's duty of all of us how we can contribute to climate change. And I am going to quote the United Nations SDG 17, which is Partnership for Goals. We cannot achieve the targets. We cannot achieve. Climate issue is huge. If we work together, I think we can achieve. And for 2024, the resolutions, all the beautiful people who are here participating, they do wonders in their communities. Let's join together and let's make it happen. So please, I know there are a lot of questions. Please, your questions should be short. Time is precious. We just have 10 minutes to the closing ceremony. Yes. Who has raised the hands? Just unmute yourself and make your question short.
Yes, please, Svein. Get your question up
Sure.
loud.
Yeah. Okay, partly a question, but also partly a huge appreciation and a very strange experience here to hear, especially from you, Benno, the thoughts you have. They resonate really deeply with us in the Bards for Climate and our artistic community. And what we've been talking about out of intuition for a while comes back out of your mouth now, and it's really encouraging to hear that from other people here. And I would like to just ask for if there's any way of getting more research into the art role, like you mentioned now, so we can have more foundational, because we have intuition on this, but we don't have the research on it. So please send that to me. Okay, that's all. Thank you very much.
I mean, for me, I'm working on this since 2008 when I started to program the International Year of Global Understanding. So that's a long experience, a lot of failures with a lot of different approaches. For me, the starting point is, if you say that the environment is the issue, then the arts have a job of decoration or of illustration. They are not taken serious. The art should imagine other ways of living, and they should be absolutely free, and their creativity should be the key driver. Of course, what we need most, and the arts, including the humanities, are of core importance. We need another hierarchy of values. So far, success is expressed by the amount of resources somebody can buy and use. But we don't need 24 bathrooms, hundreds of cars, and thousands of rooms, whatever. Life is too short. I mean, you have to develop values that the simple pleasures are the key pleasures of life, and there is nothing else. It doesn't help to chase other things. And the arts, philosophy, literature, poesy, poetics, music, performing arts, and so on, down to culinary, about eating, drinking, simple things in a good manner, are the key things. And this is the job of a joint effort of all the artists, and the others have to learn to take the artist serious and not just as interior decorators or and something like that, illustrating what the scientists are saying. This is another world. This is another world. It's your job, and we have to change policies about that.
Next question, Andrea, please keep it short. Andrea, unmute your mic.
Yes. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Andrea Mason, South America ambassador, as well as America. Thank you, Richard, David, and Iram for having me. I would like to say, how would we be able to get the message in small amounts in the communities, in the villages? I came from Colombia, South America during the cartel, and I came to America at 11 months at 11 pounds, adoption based. But I speak to the orphanages worldwide, and I want to educate and figure out at a higher level where we can impact the world in small baby steps within their villages, their communities, and as leaders here on the platform, reminding their leaders from where they came from to accentuate and put into action baby steps on how communities and leaders can come to fruition. Thank you for your time.
Yes, Mr. Benno, would you like to respond to that?
The point is, if I understood your it's very difficult to change the power of press and the media and so on. But the work you're doing, if I understood you correctly, is most important, and you have the advantage that you are talking on the basis of your experience. That's this kind of message nobody else from the media can bring to the people. And this is authenticity. I think authenticity is the key problem of the scientists. Having the foundings of global climate change and spending dedication on a crusade every year for weeks on the ocean, polluting the air like nothing else, that's not the basis to be authentic and to convince people to change their way of lives. So your message, based on your experience, that's the key level of changing people's minds, because the others don't reach the mind as you can do. And that's what we need to organize, these kind of messages, these kinds of communication in networks, but based on authenticity. What we are preaching, we have to live ourselves.
Farzana Khan, next question.
Hi, Benno. Thank you very much, Benno. This was very insightful. I agree with everything you say, but one of the things that's so important for me is the mindset and a collective mindset. I do believe that what you said about taking control, in my speech today in the presentation, is one of the solutions that I found through my works and seeing the catastrophes of the humans, what we're doing. As you're saying, these are not natural-made disasters, they are human-made disasters. So how do we find solutions? And yet, you're absolutely right, 100%, on the fact that we shouldn't leave all the controls to the government, to the companies, to other organizations. We are part of that, and we need to have contingency plans for ourselves. We can't wait for the status quo to make the decisions, because that's the due process, takes forever. What you little steps that you take for yourself. For example, one of the things I quoted today was seeing the floods in Kensington, where I live, in Garland, where Saddam's homes are. There are things that we could do ourselves. For example, California is mentioned as a state that has the most difficult climate, that they have every disaster, but they are ready for it, the public. So for example, Bruno, my friend, says we don't have any painting or mirrors above our bed. We have a bag ready for evacuation at the door. So what I want to say, I agree with everything you said about collective mindset, about taking some control. The public needs to see it's not them and us. We can't leave every power of them to sort things out for ourselves. We have to get ready. We understand the climate has changed. We know it's not going to get, I'm not going to say pessimistically or be realist, that things are changing and they are going to get a little bit more challenging. So what can we do as an individual, for myself, for my family, to make sure we are prepared for that? Preparation is key. But for me, the loss of life in West is a lot smaller than the emerging markets. At Scotland, we had 45,000 people who died. In London, we had 1 million with flooding. So my answer to all of this, I absolutely agree with you, collective mindset and take some control yourself. Don't wait just for the decision makers, make steps for yourselves and take control as well, because leaving control in the hands of others is not ideal as well. So take some control. And thank you, Benno. Everything you said is insightful. It's absolutely honest, and it's absolutely key that we do those things. It's collective, one vision, one mindset, one narrative, one discussion, and also to take control as individuals.
I mean, the important point is, and you are giving a lot of example of that, is, you know, if every individual is thinking what an individual can do, then nothing will happen. But you have to realize that structures are produced and reproduced by people like us. If you are not repeating them, if you are not changing them, they remain they remain as they are. But structure have been built by people, and we can change them. That's not easy to do. But I think the point I made before in respect of the arts, I think we need a new aesthetics. The way we deal with nature, the way we deal with one another, and the way we deal with resources, and what counts as resource. And I think that's a long way to go, but we cannot stay on the level to have this technocratic view to find just a technical solution for a problem. We have to entangle the problem, the processes that are creating the problems. And that's I think for that we need really everyone, and especially also the young people to build their own world.
Thank you, Mr. Benno. Nico, next question. Keep it short. Nico from Glasgow. Can you hear us, Nico?
Oh, yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, go ahead, Nico.
Yeah, for me, it's not a question. It's just a very quick one. I think the people in COP28, I want to see them taking homework. I mean to say, when I mean homework, I mean what happened in COP26 has never been spoken again. And secondly, we should not give poor countries homework when they don't have resources. And secondly, as an artist, we're not funded enough to actually raise awareness. And secondly, yeah, that's it. I think people, if they can take homework, so next year they can come back and show the world what they achieved. And the other thing I disagree with the lady when said is a mindset, everybody. It's kind of like put people under pressure. You know what I mean? You can't tell a poor child in a village in Africa it's a mindset. I think, not disrespect, but I'm just saying we need to find like a very good language to use, not a bullying language as well. And there's a lot to be done. Yeah, that's my own opinion.
Thank you, Nico. Dr. Basharat from Islamabad, you have a question?
Yeah, actually, it's a recommendation or suggestion for Mr. Benno Verlin. Like you see, UNESCO is a specialized agency of the UN. So my suggestion would be that it may not be possible for this COP28 to come up with some suggestions that oil, gas, and coal should be restricted or their use should be minimized. But UNESCO may find technical ways on how, if these are used for, say, energy generation, that the pollution which is produced from burning of these fossil fuels, it can be reduced. Like for the cars, we have catalytic converters. It's a technology which reduces a lot of pollution in the developed world, whereas in the developing countries where they do not use catalytic converters in their cars, their air is a lot more polluted. Like the Lahore in Pakistan and the Delhi in India are the most polluted countries in the world because of this vehicular pollution. So my suggestion is to find ways and tools through which we can control the pollution generated by the energy generation through fossil fuels, coal, gas, as well as oil.
Thank you, Dr. Basharat. Is Collins with us? Collins or Timothy, please, representing Kenya. You've done amazing work. We would like to hear you, Timothy or Collins, before David plays the videos and we come to the closing. Timothy, you have to unmute yourself.
Hi. Yes.
Yes, we can hear you. Yes, Timothy, go ahead.
Okay. Sorry, Sadaf, I didn't get your question. There was some echo.
Collins was supposed to talk about all the campaign. It's for you. You were part of it. So we just want to hear you. You and your team had done amazing work and we appreciate it. So you're representing Africa and more than 45 universities. Yes, Tim.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Sadaf. Indeed, it's been an incredible journey, journeying with, getting to bring all the speakers around and especially working with the EACCGN. That's East African College and Campuses Youth Network. It's been an incredible journey whereby, you're seeing bringing youths from all across Africa in campuses and colleges, and bringing them to showcase what they have, in the space of environment. And it's been really interesting to see that these young people have been able to, shift this climate initiative livelihood, because that is the only way they can be able to be sustainable. And it's been really an incredible journey, seeing them bringing out their talents in a diverse way, and having conversations in a diverse way, getting to understand them from their understanding. So it's really been an interesting thing. Also, for the 12 days of COP, the conversations that we've had from people across the continent, it has really given us hope to know that people really care about the planet. People are doing something that are geared towards taking care of the environment. And this gives us hope. This makes us aware that there are things that people are doing to remedy the effects of climate change. And it's just a matter of time. It's just a matter of, patience. And then we'll be there. And so far, so good. The response has been great. And I mean, the conversations has just been incredibly amazing. I must repeat that again. Yeah, that's it from me, Sadaf, here in Kenya. And I can't wait to join the EACCGN team, to celebrate this incredible milestone that we've made. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much, Timothy. Last question, and then David would be playing the amazing videos of the closing ceremony. And I would request people who want to stay, they can join our team. We'll be celebrating with some music and just lighter conversation. And those who want to leave, they can leave. Thanks once again for joining the closing ceremony for COP28, which is happening in Dubai, from the It's For You team, a symphony of billion voices. Last question, Mr. Burkhardt from Germany.
Okay, thanks a lot, Shadaf. I just want to inform Benno about an initiative by, let's say, a colleague of him, former colleague of him, who is a former Secretary General, Deputy Secretary General of the United Nations World Tourism Organization. It's a friend of mine. I don't know whether you know him, Mr. Geoffrey Lippman. He's living in Brussels. And I had the strong feeling when you gave your statement that I urgently should connect you if you don't know each other already. So I don't want to go in, make a very short summary now, but I will continue. Benno, I will send you a message via LinkedIn to give you my contacts. And my approach is, the world's largest employer is the travel and tourism industry, which of course is also overlapping with UNESCO, and it's overlapping with education. And this program from the former Deputy Secretary General is funded by the government of Malta. So, and they have scholarships for students from the LDCs, less developed countries, and SIDS, small islands developing states. And they have courses for, so the interface for tourism and climate change is climate-friendly travel. So this is overlapping. And this is the key word. And I think there are a lot of synergies here. I will come back to this, and everybody who want to know more, I will write my email address here, and because otherwise it will be too long.
Thank you so much, Mr. Burkhardt. Inger, your closing remarks for the closing ceremony, being the co-host and moderator with me for 12 days. I know, Inger, we all are now tired, but we did it. And I think it was a great method. Over to you, Inger, and then over to David.
Thank you.
Make some music, videos, and videos.
Yes, thank you so much. It's been amazing to be not only together with you, Sadaf, for 12 days, but it has been even longer. We started early September, so it's been 90 days together with every week and every day, more or less, at the end of the journey here with David and Richard and Timothy and Collins and David, Anne and Maureen and everyone, Irim and Gina and everyone. There is, with all respect, there was a hand up from Lenny, and I was wondering if you still wanted to ask the question. I'm sorry that is a little bit not the protocol, but I think we always saw his hands up. So I'm just asking that, Lenny, if you are still wanted to ask a question, we can welcome that at the end as well.
And also, I would request Iram quickly to say she's done a wonderful work just in 1 month for this whole campaign from Karachi, and just 2 minutes to Mr. Jinnah as well. Yes, Iram.
Thank you so very much. Firstly, I am humbled to be here, and as a teammate over here, it's for you. It's an amazing job we all did. Congratulations, my team and everyone over here having trust in me. I am so very happy that we have accomplished something which is not possible. But the thing is, like, yes, my team, my digital team, who are not on the screen, who made it happen, everyone is there to make some videos, do something for me. I'll thank personally. And thank you, Mr. Benno. It's been a pleasure meeting you over here, Madam Sadaf, Jinnah Saab, Inger, and David. I met, it's a symphony of billion voices, and I say it's for you, it's for me, and it's for everyone. So please join my hands. Thank you.
Mr. Jinnah,
Yeah,
2 minutes,
thank
Mr.
you.
Jinnah. Closing
No,
remarks.
I'll take just 1 minute. So I'd like to thank everyone. It's a wonderful experience I had with COP28. So I'd like to thank everyone. And I'd just like to add one thing, what the Barack Obama said a couple of years ago, that we are the first generation who facing the climate change, and we are the last generation who can do something about it. So that was the word, who actually dragged me into this SDGs and the goal number 7 and 13 and everything, right? So, I like to tell everyone, please, 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 just raise your voice for climate is a very dangerous, it's coming up and it's not going to be avoided. We'd like to thank everyone for giving this opportunity. Yes, Sadaf, over to you.
Over to David. Are you ready to play the amazing videos? That's fine, David. That's technology. Everything cannot go perfect, but we can play the closing, the conference video if you want.
Good job.
Yeah, you can send me. Yeah, David, you can send, any of us, we can play from here. We can try.
Yeah. Mm. Yes, indeed.
David, put the links in the chat and I'll upload from YouTube on us directly to the screen.
So the DJ.
Yeah. Yeah. Slutty Dwayne. Alright, yeah. We live fast, we live slow, we love deep, we fly high. Live fast, live slow, we love deep, we fly high. We live fast, we live slow, we love deep, we fly high. Serve the world, we have to go fast into very slow. And rich people are plastic, fantastic, and poor people are living their full emotional scale of being humans, where emotions are real. Look, the rich are asking the poor to stop buying shoes. That is all fine. If you have 100 pair of shoes, I have one pair. Let's support the poor to accelerate to the 100. We run fast, we run fat, we run barefoot. Hung loose, we.
Thank you, David, for playing it. It was somehow a little bit. But it was it turns into a piece of art. It had its own pace and its own topics, I would say. It was beautiful.
David, do you want me to share? Let me try if I can.
I think
It's not good. Yeah. So, do you want me to try?
Yeah, I guess you should try it.
Yeah. Just let me.
Maybe just send it to Jenna.
I have it. Just let me.
Okay. Try it, try it, try it.
Dignity is the key to unlock your consciousness towards the environment. Yeah, nature is alive and nature has feelings. Don't you hurt its feelings? You are human and just stop being the reason why nature ain't healing. Good does not come from having good intentions or even by acting on them. But good comes from accepting that the dreaming of a day when we shall heal the world. Transform yourself, it's for you, it's the solution. A limit to oil, gas, and coal makes me happy. This world is all we got, so we must save the planet, save it now. Yeah. Good originates from accepting that there are limits. Good comes from limits. Rethink those choices, chunga vile una purchase. Think of your consumption. What's the point? I mean, transformational ownership is for you. It's for you, yeah. Are you ready now? Are you dreaming of a day when we shall heal the world? Transform yourself, it's for you, it's the solution. A limit to oil, gas, and coal makes me happy. This world is all we got, so we must save the planet, save it now. What gives you joy? Dancing in the rain. What gives you joy? Owning my challenges. What gives you joy? Being alive. What gives you joy? Having fun. Hey. Hey, transformational ownership, yeah. Hey yo, listen, everyone, you are welcome to the dreaming of a day when we shall heal the world. Transform yourself, it's for you, it's the solution. A limit to oil, gas, and coal makes me happy. This world is all we got, so we must save the planet, save it now, yeah.
Yes, bravo.
Bravo, David.
It's amazing. Well, thank you to
you.
So we'll just open the floor for informal discussion. I think now the formal ceremony is over. Everybody can relax, including me. Anybody who wants to share their views? I can see Christiana. Is she here from Greece, from Jamaica? Would you like to add in your comments? How was your experience? Christiana, would you like to say something, a few words? Your story was amazing of the Meraki people. You were the first, one of the first speakers.
Yes. I have to leave. I have
okay,
to go
thank you,
dinner.
Mr. Jinnah.
Yeah, so, but thank you very much. Thank you, everyone. David
Thank
and
you,
Robin,
bye.
everyone.
Thank
you,
you.
Timothy, and everyone.
Thank you.
Inshallah, we'll see you again very soon. Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Yes, Christiana.
Yes, I would like to say that it has been my vision and life's work, so I walk the talk, of preparing a future-ready community, because I believe that what is missing is the sense of community and the sense of being possible to make it happen. So for me, making a pilot village with bio and circular economy model is my dream. And of course, once we do it, and I mean we do it, I would like to invite you around and really get involved with making things happen. This is the only way we can see change. Take action, create bio businesses with biomaterials, and helping also the industries that they are now oil-based industries to make the transition. And we can do that only by example and action. So I feel that I am privileged and honored to be invited to join this event. And I would like very, very much to be able to contribute to the world with my example. So please do come and join us.
Thank you, Christiana. Dominic from Zimbabwe, are you here? Dominic? Anyone else who would like to speak?
Hey, how are you? How is everyone?
We're good. We can't see you. How are you?
Oh man, my network is bad, so I'll lose
That's
my
fine.
bandwidth if I yeah. Thank you for organizing. It's been really great. Hearing the stories from everyone, and the encouragement is really good. It encourages us as well as youth in Zimbabwe and in Africa to keep pushing the programs that we have, because we now see that there's a whole community that's ready to support. So thank you for that.
Thank you. Good. I would like Areva to speak. Areva, are you there? The guy behind, he's a lot of effort, all the speakers' profile he's made, all the certification. Areva, thank you so much for that.
Thank
Can
you.
you speak? Just say hello.
I want to say a personal thanks to Areva, because I am the one who was just bugging him every half an hour. So I am so thankful that you were there. Thank you from Pakistan.
I thank Mr. Benno to be part of this closing ceremony. Mr. Benno, we're just having informal discussion for the people who would like to speak. Your closing remarks, and I know your time is precious. Maybe you have some other commitments, but your closing remarks, sir.
Yeah, thank you very much for having me. This really a very informative and inspiring session today. Thank you for that. And of course, I would like to invite, my idea is that we need to connect and we have to support one another. And one possibility to do that with more than 1,000 people around the planet is to go to the website of the Jena Declaration. There you have the possibility to sign, to leave your remarks. You can say with whom you want to connect. And we are trying to be a platform to connect all people, like-minded people, inspiring, like rethinking our decisions and rethinking our ways of doing. And of course, I would be happy to connect you with a lot of people that are already partners of the Jena Declaration and that are already signed the Jena Declaration. And that I think could be a good opportunity to go on with the spirit of this session for the next days, months, years to come, and to really change all of us a little bit every day, the places
Yes.
we
We will
Thank you very
do.
much.
Thank you, Benno. We will do. I will also say that Jena, the city of Jena, is famous for being the word kindergarten. And I was always perplexed why a German word in looking at children, and it comes into being that's the place where they invented children to go to school or kindergarten. And that is the playful playground that we need to find and go back to our inner child again. And also on behalf of the World Climate School, I think we are learners. It's a learning journey to be online like this. it's technical glitches, but that's also part of the learning journey. And of course, it's a spiritual journey to learn how to connect the arts and the arts and the heart, and the art of living well, and to try to navigate through this chaos, and the artist's eyes and the way of looking into it. The artist sometimes, as my friend in prison, Sven said, it gets order in chaos. And through that kind of navigation as a chaos pilots, it's really part of the learning journey. So thank you everyone, and each to you, that we are together on this journey, and it's a beginning, and let's continue. So thank you so much to all of you from my heart.
Thank you, Inger. And before we close this session, it's just a suggestion, excitement. All of you who have participated, Inger, and thanks, David, thanks, Richard, for having the faith in me, trusting me. It was a huge responsibility, very tense till the closing ceremony. I think we had more than 54 participants, which was good, around the globe. We are going live. Do see our sessions on Rethinking Choices on YouTube. Amazing conversations from Greece to Jamaica, to Germany, to UK, to Africa. Each of the sessions were different than the real COP. People were projecting what actually they're doing. We didn't talk about problems. So that was, I think, very unique, which I found, and Inger would agree to that. We heard such wonderful stories. So we have a dream, we have a plan to invite you all for a physical conference. We haven't decided which country, but let's to meet you all in person, and let's join together to save our planet Earth for future generations. That's from me. Thank you all. Take care. And for 2024, let's save our planet Earth. Bye from Pakistan.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Bye from Norway. Bye-bye.
Bye. It's a lovely journey.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Thank you, David M. Thank you.
Bye from Kenya.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Thank you, Maureen. Thank you.
Bye-bye from
Isabel,
Kenya.
Dominic, thank you. Zimbabwe, Kenya.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Love you all.
Thank you from Zimbabwe. Thank
Pakistan. Yes, thank you. Thank
Bye
you.
from South
Jamaica.
Africa.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Jamaica. Thank you, South Africa.
Well wishing South Africa.
Diana,
East
thank
London.
you. We'd love everyone to speak more. So we have
Thank
to
you, everyone.
connect again. Thank you, David.
Bye.
Thank you, Germany. Thank you.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Good, Agro.
Indeed.
Okay.
Thank you, Diana. See you in Jamaica.
Well done.
Thank you, Sarah.
Okay.
Yes, we should love sustainability. I am coming.
Good.
It doesn't. It's
After Americans Day, we should love sustainability. You know,
Diana from Jamaica, you were very quiet before we log off. Do you want to say something?
Love for love.
Jamaica. I want to hear from Jamaica. Diana,
Yes,
can you
hear from Jamaica.
Where is
The love story from Jamaica.
We
Diana,
want
you
to
there?
come to Jamaica for study tour, community tourism with villages as businesses. So whenever you're ready, just let me know. No.
Sure.
No, we are coming. Don't worry, girl.
Everywhere.
We are
And
coming.
David M., let's hear your voice. I can see you're smiling.
Yes, I am. I'm speaking now.
I'm not even smiling. I'm about smiling.
I'm wishing you all a
Very
wonderful
much
season.
everyone from Kenya.
Yes,
Yeah.
DJ,
Thank
can
you.
you play the music for the last time? Can you play the music?
Yeah, please do. And yeah,
Thank
thank
you.
you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you all. Thank you, Rafi. Thank you, Sarah.
Congratulations.
Thank you, Elizabeth. Thank you, Kabran.
Thanks, Inga. Thanks, Ada. Thanks, you. You're welcome. Thank you so much, indeed.
Well, that's the formal closing ceremony of It's For You, the antidote to COP28. And we hope what we have given over this time is the sense that we really are moving forward. The migration has started. People individually in all parts of the world, from Australia to South America to North America, over to Europe and Asia, have all been part of this. So we are really, really glad that it has been possible to bring you all together on this, to bring you all onto this remarkable journey. And we thank Benno for being there, for being our guest of honor at our closing ceremony. And just to remind you tonight, starting at 7 p.m. GMT, Richard and I will do our final segment of It's For You. Thank you.